podcast party people. How you doing? How are you doing? It's Thursday. It's almost the end of the week. Friday, I'm going to be drinking some Grey Goose and Baileys. And then I'm going to be drinking some peanut butter Mexican chocolate stout. That's right. Actually, it's Mexican chocolate peanut butter stout. That's what it is. And it's to die for. It's by a company called Belching Beaver. Oh my God. The beer is called Viva la Beaver. I'm hooked on it. In fact, I should get some tonight before tomorrow because last time that I bought it over here at Bevmo. You know, if you buy from Bevmo now, I don't know if you've bought any beer. I don't know if you've bought any beer from Bevmo. But you got to do it all on their app now. You got to buy it you got to find it, buy it on the app. And then it's like, you got to pick it up, and it's just kind of a big, pay for it. And they don't save your fucking credit card information. So you got to re-enter it every time. It's a big pain in the ass. But the only place that I can find this beer is at Bevmo. So I will suffer going through all of this bullshit. They don't let anybody in the store. They don't let anybody in Bevmo anymore. So unlike I'm not sure why, because everybody can go into fucking grocery stores, and everybody can go into liquor stores, but you can't go into Bevmo, which makes no sense at all. So you got to buy it all on the app, but it's worth it. It's fucking expensive though, man. That shit's like $11.97 for a 4-pack. Granted, they're big. That's the thing now with all the craft beers now. They sell it in cans, and they're like extra large cans, so like maybe 20-ounce cans or something. But you get a 4-pack of 20-ounce cans, which is what, 80 ounces, and then a 6-pack of 12 ounces would be about the same, little more beer. But yeah, it's almost $12. I think it's like $26 for 8 cans of beer when it's all said and done. It's delicious, though. I can't stop drinking this fucking beer. It's so good. So every Friday, it's Thursday. I'm dreaming about this Friday and Saturday. This is my Friday and Saturday. I have Grey Goose vodka with Baileys, and I have 1 or 2, usually 2, just like regular small-sized cocktails. And then I have like 2 or 3 of these Mexican chocolate peanut butter stouts by Viva la Beaver. No, by Belching Beaver. And the beer is called Viva la Beaver. And you'd think that they were sponsoring today's show, but they're not. No, they're not. That's the world we live in. For everybody who's listening in the future, this is April 30th, 2020. Quarantine lockdown still in effect. In fact, it just got extended here in California to May 31st. So another month of lockdown. They're easing up like parks, and all my parks were already open, so that didn't matter. Crazy times. I've got a really good podcast for you coming up here. Really good. I'm excited about this one. You're going to like this one. It's a long one. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. It's a long one, but Dom DeLuca is a really interesting dude, and everything that he's got to say, you're going to want to hear. You're going to want to sit here for this long. We talked for this much time, 3 hours, and it fucking flew by. Didn't even realize it had been 3 hours because he's just got some crazy stories. This dude grew up in Brooklyn. Now he lives in LA. He runs a streetwear company called Brooklyn Projects, which is like a legit streetwear company, and like really deep into the skate scene, and has been forever. And it's a fucking legit company. I would straight up call him like my streetwear. I have my own streetwear company called Killers and Kings, and he has really helped me kind of guide me the right direction and steered me away from the wrong direction. And he knows his shit, man. wildly successful company. They're now in Zoomies. Like it's a hot brand. And but it's still cool. He's not, he still maintains a lot of control over it, and it's not just available everywhere. He still is very hands-on with it. And so he's got a lot to say. This dude's lived a crazy life, man. Holy shit. The life this dude has led. Fucking hosted Headbangers Ball, went on tour with Anthrax when he was a kid. Like, just fucking nuts. Like, nuts. So yeah, we got Dom DeLuca coming up on that. I'm thrilled to announce today that Grey Goose Vodka sponsoring No Fucking Regrets today. That's right, Grey Goose Vodka, my favorite vodka. Dude, favorite vodka of all time. I've been drinking Grey Goose for almost 15 years now. And I am religiously drinking it. They are really fun. I've never been a whiskey guy. Never been into the whiskey. Just, I don't know, I get sick. Like, it kind of makes me nauseous sometimes. Like, it makes me violent. And a vodka's like, I just want to party and take off my clothes and run naked down the street. And I'd rather be that guy. That's who I want to be, that guy. And I'm not sure exactly what it was, but when I switched to them, and I tried many vodkas, and I always liked vodka, but sometimes I drink vodka and give me like a really bad headache, and other times I wouldn't. And I never really knew why. And then I started drinking Grey Goose, and Grey Goose is a grain vodka, as opposed to, say, a traditional vodka, which is made from potatoes. Sometimes it's made from corn. This is a grain vodka. I'm not sure what grains, probably rye, maybe some wheat. I know it's a wheat vodka, but that's a big difference. Grey Goose vodka is 100% traceable from crop to cork, from harvest to milling to distillation to bottling. Every step of the vodka done in France. That's right. Saving your vodka as gluten-free isn't unique. Grey Goose is... Only Grey Goose uses single-origin Picardy wheat and water from only natural limestone in the Gensac-le-Palu to craft a gluten-free spirit of exceptional character. It's handmade. It isn't the softest wheat from Picardy, or the purest spring water from there, but if it isn't, it's not worthy of being Grey Goose. Grey Goose is, once again, 100% traceable from crop to cork. I think that's why it is good. That's why I like it, because it is a wheat vodka. And there's something about it not being made from potatoes that makes it jive with my trip. I know it's filtered 3 times. And that's also something, sometimes a cheap vodka, the difference between a good one and a shitty one is how many times they filter it. In fact, most spirits, hard alcohols, the difference is how many times they filter it. And so the more that you filter it, the less impurities, the less chance for a headache, unless of course you drink a shit ton of it. But that's the one good thing that's about Grey Goose. So if you're into vodka and you've never had it, I highly encourage you to try Grey Goose vodka. They got a bunch of different flavors. They got orange, they got vanilla, they got I just go for the regular one. I mix it with some Baileys, which I think is a fabulous combination. Oh, so good. And sometimes I've been mixing it with that when I'm on quarantine, but when I'm on the road, it's a brown eye. Boom. Vodka, Grey Goose vodka and Coca-Cola. Nothing to fuck with. That shit'll carry you all night. Get a little buzz from the Coca-Cola. The Grey Goose gets you all loose. Yeah. Get loose with the Grey Goose. That's what I say. I'm going to take you to my interview right now. This dude's a legend in the streetwear game. Fucking legend in the streetwear game. Everybody knows this motherfucker. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get you, your ears are in for a treat. This is Dom DeLuca of Brooklyn Projects. Dom DeLuca,
Rob,
how are you?
I'm great, dude. I'm great. I'm really happy to be talking to you on this thing right now.
I love this backdrop that we got here. This is an impressive backdrop behind it. The skateboards and the bikes and Han Solo and man,
It's like
some
my
good
man
shit.
cave. It's my man cave. It's my office. It's my man cave. It's where I get my inspiration from.
Good shit, man.
Yeah, dude.
I was talking with Scott Ian earlier, and he said that the first question I need to ask you about is
Oh,
about
fuck off.
Claudine.
Oh, fuck off.
He said, ask him about Claudine. All right. So now what's the deal with Claudine?
Yeah, I know Claudine. So the story goes, I was hanging out with this one chick way back in the day, probably like 88, 89. And she thought it would be fun to videotape us fucking. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then one night, she came over to my house, and at the time I was living with my parents. So my parents' bedroom was right next to my bedroom, and I was like, oh, okay, and then she brought this fucking, back then, the video cameras were like these big VHS, like,
oh my God. Right.
It
They're
wasn't like
huge.
a small handy cam. It was
80s,
like a big,
yeah. It was as big as a skateboard.
Yeah, with a fucking stand. So with the tripod. So I'm just like, what the fuck? So I snuck it into my room, and it was like 1:00 in the morning. We started filming and whatever, and then I was like, oh, this is amazing. So,
but you're next to your parents' room.
Yeah.
While doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, is there a chance that they can hear you doing this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because she was just like, she's like, I remember I tried sticking it in her ass, and she was like, ow, it hurts. It's like, you know what I mean? So on the tape, there's all this shit. And so after the fact, I was like, she's like, I want to have this copy. I was like, yeah, no, because at the time I had just started working on MTV. Like I just got my gig on MTV. So I was just like, no. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give you a copy. I'll make a copy. I don't remember what I told her. So I remember taking this copy to the hotel where Anthrax was staying, because they were recording their records. Everybody was hanging out there.
They were recording what?
They're recording their record. I think it was the Stomp 440. No, it was before Stomp. No, it was when John Bush joined the band, I believe. And,
okay.
And I brought it to the hotel. We're all going to go out, and I brought it. And
you brought the video to show everybody your porn.
Right. Unbeknownst to me, so she had a friend that we called the Joker, that Scott Ian's friend Andy was trying to bang. So Andy had said, oh yeah, Dom's coming. Come to the hotel. We're all going to go out to some club, whatever. I didn't know this. So I go upstairs, and I remember in the video, she specifically says after the fact, you better not fucking show this to anybody in the video. And I'm like, no. So we go upstairs. It's like the point is like, it's pure comedy. It's like in the room in the dark, it's like kind of like grainy. Right. It's like, and she's complaining the whole fucking time. It wasn't like it was like a 15-minute thing. It was the worst. It was really bad. So long story short, we come down, and then she's sitting there with the Joker, her friend, and Andy, and we're like, these guys starts cracking up, and then she's like,
so you showed the videos to the guys.
Yep, and then
you come down, and okay,
and there she is, and then she was like, what's so funny? And I was just like, nothing, and they were making comments throughout the whole night from the video, and she was just like, she was like, what the fuck? Why are they saying this? And and then eventually, she found out, and she was really mad.
Yeah.
Like really mad. But
yeah.
And then she got the video. I think I gave it to her or something like that. I think Scott Koenig has a copy still, maybe. I don't know. Like fucking, you know. So.
It's funny she hasn't put it out at some point as like some revenge porn or something.
Yeah, I thought that when I was on, but at the time when I was semi pseudo famous, that would be the time. Now nobody gives a fuck. It's like,
yeah,
it's like putting out a porn with Evan from Biohazard. Now nobody gives a shit. 15, 20 years ago, it would have been something to watch, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and he's in the porn industry, so a lot of people have seen it by this point.
True, that's true. Sorry,
he's shown his dick a lot.
Yes.
I mean, he showed his. What was that fucking prison show he was on? We saw his dick on that.
Fucking Oz.
Oz, that's right.
That's fucking funny, dude. Yeah, so that's the whole Claudine. So every time I would go out, it's a Claudine. And it was like a thing, you know what I mean? And it was really funny, you know. Claudine and the Joker.
I was listening to a podcast with you earlier, and I think it was called Club 9 or something something.
The Nine Club.
Yeah. And that was a really good podcast. It was a really good podcast, actually. Those guys are cool.
Yeah.
And you know, I was kind of fascinated because I've seen a lot of pictures of you. You know, we followed each other on Instagram. We've known each other for, you know, we met each other in 1988. Yeah, 88 in Brooklyn Moore's Violence opening for Testament.
Yes.
32 fucking years ago.
Yep.
And so, and I just thought it was pretty amazing that, you know, you were talking about how you were 12 years old and you're crazy about BMX and you actually get sponsored.
Yeah.
Like
from Brooklyn.
This is fucking like, from Brooklyn. I mean, this is way before that's a common thing. And I was like, wow, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
How did that, tell me about this time in your life, like this period of your life.
So back then, you know, you would get sponsored. You would first start with like the local shop team, like a bike shop that you're a part of, you know, and they would give you discounts. I wasn't part of a shop team because there was no shop in Brooklyn really. So, but I would go to this one shop at my local track. And when I was 12, I had racked up enough points because at that time, every time you win, you get points, you know?
Okay.
And the fact that I was from Brooklyn, it was kind of like, I remember talking to my first sponsor, that was CW Racing. It's like Brooklyn, like where do you get your bikes? Like there's nothing in Brooklyn. Long Island, yes. Jersey, yes. Upstate New York, yes. Brooklyn, no. It's like non-existent.
Is this like a rough part of Brooklyn? Is this like, you know, like what part of?
It's a rough part of Brooklyn, but it was also the BMX was not really big. It was big in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It got bigger, but there was small pockets.
Right.
And there really wasn't any like big BMXers coming out of Brooklyn at the time. Later on, there was a lot of like freestylers. The freestyle movement really hit big in Brooklyn, but for racing, I was pretty good, and they co-sponsored me at 12, and then it was like, and then I started like, you know, getting stuff for cost, getting free stuff, getting my my dues paid when you go to races and stuff, and you know, and then I bounced around and got sponsored from there, and did it for about 4 years. I was pretty good. I wasn't great, but
so like 12 to 16, something like that.
Yeah, 12 to 16.
Yeah.
Actually, my pops died at 16, and that's when I kind of like, you know, right before my 17th birthday, that's when it kind of stopped because that was the thing that me and my dad did. You know what I mean? So once that happened, I didn't pick up a bike. Actually, I was like, I was in a weird place. So yeah, and I got into heavy metal.
That's pretty young. That's pretty young to have your father pass away.
Well, yeah, and have no brothers or sisters. It was just me, my mom, and my dad. So it was kind of like, you know, what to do next. What
happened? What happened?
He had a heart attack. He was 50.
Wow,
and that was it.
That's young. It's young, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when I think of when we were, even you, like when we think of 50, when we were 30, not even 20. You know, 50 at the time is like, oh my God, but now we're 50s. Yeah. But I feel young. It's a different thing. And like to think like, wow, I outlived my father because I'm 51 now. pretty like, whoa, like this is how he was when he died. I was like, I can't, it's like, there's so much to live for, especially I don't have a kid, but he had me. So it's like,
yeah, right.
And it was kind of like now when I really think about it, it's even more shocking than it was. I mean, well, when it first happened, it was really shocking. I just didn't understand, but
yeah,
I like to think everything happens for a reason. And that's when that happened, I went full on heavy metal and, like hung out in that scene and, met the guys in, Anthrax, of course, and Metallica and Slayers and, you guys and Possessed and, all those, Biohazards and all the hardcore scene, which really took me in. It was Anthrax and the hardcore scene, the Cro-Mags, Agnostic Front, Straight Ahead, Leeway, Crumbs, all those guys, the CBGB's thing. It was like, if you had long hair and you went to those shows, you would get the shit kicked out of you. But like those dudes with the cosign of John, Joseph, and Harley and Ray from Warzone, those guys took me in and like really like, yo, I'm a long hair, but like it was me and Scotty and we're very, very few long hairs that were accepted. And that's what really like it kind of like it molded me to who I was, you know what I mean? Or who I am today.
Yeah. It's funny to think about that too, because like back then, and I think it's hard for young people to think about this because there really was a dividing line, like back then, like there was a time when it all came together, like metalheads and punk rockers and, like around the early 80s, when the early 80s had like DRI and Venom and Motorhead, you kind of like, like you'd see a little bit all, and then it separated again. And when hardcore became hardcore, it was like no long hairs allowed. Like, right?
Yeah, no, dude, it was, there was bands that didn't want to play L'Amour's, you know what I mean? Because it's a heavy metal club. And like, and that changed in 1990. They saw like, oh, like there was good shows. There was only CBGBs to play or Sundance.
Right.
Someone played Long Island, Sundance, or like you play in Jersey at Studio One or fucking, that place that the Trocadero was in Philly, but what's that place in you played there, dude? Fucking in Jersey, in the capital, Trenton, the City Gardens.
In Newark?
No, City Gardens.
Oh,
did you guys play City Gardens? I think you did play there. Yeah, John. I remember, dude. Fuck, I remember.
Many beers ago, Don.
Yeah, dude. Yes, yes. So
but I'm always like, I mean, you got in with a lot, granted you're a pretty affable guy, like I could see why people would like you, but like you got in with like a lot of fucking bands, like, you were bros with Anthrax kind of like, I don't know how, if not day one, but like pretty early on in the scene.
I would see Scott in Washington Square Park skating, and and he was in a band, and then seeing the band play L'Amour's.
Did he skate? He skated back then?
I skated. Not. I was more BMXer, but then I picked up skating.
But he skated? He skated? Scott skated?
He skated. Okay. Yeah, he skated.
That's funny. That's one of my questions, because I remember right when skating, like you started seeing, like Metallica was always skating, obviously California, every fucking thrash dude,
were really good
skating.
skaters.
Punk rock, yeah, totally. But then we started seeing Anthrax holding up skateboards. We're like, you motherfuckers ain't skating, are you? What? Well, that's good to hear that he was skating.
Scott definitely skated. He definitely skated. And seeing these bands at L'Amour's when they first started and befriending them, because they were not that much older. They were a little bit older than me, like 4 or 5 years older than me. But at the time, when you're 13, 14, 15, and somebody's 19, 20, it's still like you're in that same, you're in that same thing. And
so you're going to see these guys when you're 14 years old?
12, 13.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Because my uncles own L'Amour.
Okay.
So I would go and I would see these shows like, Metallica, fucking, Slayer playing in front of 30 people. I remember one show. I mean,
L'Amour's was, maybe, a legendary rock and thrash club.
It was the Ruthie's Inn of the East Coast.
Yes.
Ruthie's was like the place you wanted to, or Fenders. It was like.
Yes.
And, I remember my first show that I promoted, and I took a wash I don't even believe it still to this day. We took a wash. We did a Sunday show, okay? It was Faith No More, and they were about to go on tour at Metallica and I think it was Metallica and Guns N' Roses. They were a stadium tour, and they're about to start like that week. So we booked them at Lemoore on a Sunday, and I think they charged like $1,500. And this is right when the real thing came out.
Okay.
This is right before MTV, because MTV happened in 1990. It really blew up. This is like 89, or actually early 90s, maybe 1990. I'm sorry. And we had them play, and I'll never forget this. We had 33 people come in through the door and pay. That's it.
Wow.
And when they
no
played,
one gave a fuck.
Nobody gave a fuck, and we took such a wash. It was like, what the fuck? And I remember Mike Patton put on this pig mask, right, during War Pigs, and he started chasing. There was a hot waitress at the time working there named Dizzy, so he was chasing her around the fucking club during War Pigs because there was nobody there. There was like 30 people there, and it was so funny. And then like literally 8 months later, the biggest thing in the world. And then my uncle, Mike and George, like, yo, get that band again. We took a wash. They should do it for free. They should come play for free. And they were like, yeah, no. But no, they did come back later on with Soundgarden and Voivod. So it was Voivod headlining, Soundgarden, and Faith No More.
Yeah, I saw that same tour.
That was 91.
With somebody else opening. It wasn't Faith No More opening, but it was another band opening.
That was a great show.
Fuck yeah. Soundgarden crushed it, man. Like fucking Soundgarden owned everything.
Dude, I remember seeing Soundgarden at Foundations Forum, and I'm like, this is a new band starting. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was like blown away. I was like, holy shit. Like,
yeah. What year was that?
Huh? It was 1991, I think.
Yeah.
Right when
Bad Motorfinger?
No, that was Loud.
That was Louder Than Love.
Louder Than Love. Right.
Nice.
So I was like, what is this? What is this? And then that year, the whole Nirvana thing happened.
Right.
And it was just
Seattle exploded. Everything Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back a little bit in time though. Somewhere around there, when do you go on tour with Anthrax? When is this?
87, 88, 89, 90.
Yeah.
88, 87, 88.
What's your role? What are you doing? What's your job working for Anthrax?
Doing nothing, hanging out, like doing their fucking picking up their bags, doing laundry, like being a gopher.
Yeah.
I didn't get paid shit. I just went just to go, like, get out and fucking see the world and meet people and have fun. I remember, I didn't know, and we'll talk about this later. I'll bring this, I'm sure you'll bring this up, but I remember 1988, we were in Europe, Monster Rock, and it was like Kiss and Maiden and Anthrax and Testament and all that. I remember Testament thinking like, oh, like we've seen Dom with Anthrax all these times and, this, that, and other thing. And so they offered me a job because Greg's bass player quit or something. And like, hey, you want to do bass? And I was like, oh, no, I'm cool. I'm like, why not? And then, because I know how to tune a fucking bass. I'm not going to, I'm going to be on a stadium tour for a month. Nah, I'm cool. I'll stay with these guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and, had fun with the guys, Anthrax. Like the Public Enemy Anthrax tour was just insane, beyond insane.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's amazing. What's the first tour you do? 87. That would have been what? Among the Living?
Yeah, actually, the first tour was State of Euphoria, 88.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Anthrax is big at this point. They're like crushing it.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Which, I mean, they're still big now. I mean, but like back then, it was like they did all the things right.
It was the upward trajectory for sure.
Yeah. Yes. So
especially following Among the Living, which was fucking a big fucking record. That shit hit record. Like a bomb.
Huge record.
And after SOD, it's like it kind of made Anthrax cooler all of a sudden because they were like, oh shit, they can do this heavy stuff. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, they were always fucking heavy. Like that guitar sound that Scott had.
Oh yeah. Totally.
It like back then, I guess nowadays it kind of sucks. Not you guys, not Machine Head, but like there's a lot of bands that the guitars sound the same. Like this, it's the same tone. It's the same tone. The tuning, I get it. You know, everybody tuned the same back in the 80s. But, you know, if you're a guitar player, you would have that sound that it distinguished you from, you know, somebody else. Metallica had their thing. Anthrax had their sound that it didn't sound like anybody. It was like, chin, chin, chin. It was like, it was clean, but heavy and chunky, you know?
Yeah. And Scott's right hand is fucking sick. He's got a sick right hand.
And you know, then you hear like a band like Voivod or like Nuclear Assault, and it was like very high. But then you had Danny Looker's bass in that head. It was like everybody had their own sound, but yet the tuning was the same. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, the sounds are kind of, kids are just like, oh, you know, they don't want to like try to like define their sound, you know. But I don't know. I mean, I think Power Trip is one of the bands that, like, new bands I love, because you listen to their record, it's like 1988 demo. Yeah, you know, it's fucking like, I can't explain it.
That dude's got a good right hand too, man. He can do all that down pick. That's why it sounds so real, you know, like it's all the fucking down picking and all that shit.
Oh my God, so good.
He ain't fucking around.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
I mean, those must have been some amazing times. I mean, that's like a few years of your life where you're fucking touring, probably getting out of, you know, Brooklyn for maybe the first time, or at least.
I mean, I traveled with my parents before every summer, but that was like being on my own, and just like the band would hate. I would love like going on a tour bus and waking up in another city. You know what I mean? Yeah. I loved it. I love.
I mean, you're getting your first groupies. You're getting your first
groupies in Europe weren't as good as the groupies in America, though. For me,
no.
You know,
they weren't swayed by your Brooklyn charms.
No, I remember I was trying to get down with what's her name? Doro Pesh.
Oh, yeah, Doro Pesh, the singer for was she in Doro, or she was in the other? Yeah, she was a singer for Warlock probably at the time.
And I remember meeting her, and I was
trying to get down.
Well, I was like, oh my, trying to crush on her, like, you know, and then she's short, and, you know, in person she was like, okay, but yeah, I remember like fucking Joey.
I mean, she's still hot. She's still hot now, but she was hot back then.
I mean, she was like, she was banging back then. You know what I mean? And I remember I was like, holy shit, she's there. And like that time, I had no like reference of like, oh, she's a big star in Europe. I'm like this peon from Brooklyn, and you know, I was trying to talk to her, and the fucking Joey Belladonna just fucking railroaded me on that shit. He just
she cock blocked you, huh?
Oh, but not even for himself. He was just doing it just like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I don't remember, but I remember I was so fucking mad. Dude, yeah, that was pretty fucking whack. But, you know, yeah, she was fucking hot. And then I remember, I think I was with Sacrifice in Canada.
That Canadian, like the Christian death metal band?
Christian, no, that's Living Sacrifice. They're dope.
Okay.
No, Sacrifice, one of the illest bands from Canada ever. One of my top 10 bands. They were like Slayer, Possessed. They were like fucking Robb, fucking Robb Urbanati, that's his name. Torment and Fire, but fucking Forward Determination, hands down one of the best thrash albums ever. They're really fucking good.
That's off my radar.
How do you not know Sacrifice?
I don't know.
Dude,
I've never.
You know what it is? You're like Scott-Ian. You know what it is? This is what it is. Okay. You've been in a lot of fucking groundbreaking bands, Forbidden Evil, Violence, Machine Head. So when you're in like those forefront bands, everything underneath, like Scott. When I used to play Scott-Ian in certain bands, like I already heard that, did that, you know. I'm like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? And I remember he used to get annoyed at me on the tour bus because I would have Walkman on and I would play Possessed. And I'd just be banging in the fucking bunk, and they would hear the music, and everybody's trying to sleep, and they hear fucking Seven Churches blaring, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I'd be singing the words.
I love that record. Sick
Seven
record.
Churches.
Oh my God. Fucking get the fuck out of here. Shit's brutal. That's one of the first thrash shows that I ever saw was Possessed. I think that was like the third thrash show that I ever saw.
Dude.
Possessed. We stood right in front of Mike Terreo. My fucking friend Leroy like worshipped him. So we had to stand in front of Mike Terreo and fucking bang all night. It was at Ruthie's. It was sick.
dude, Possessed, hands down. I mean, like, dude, they were like, I mean, they created death metal. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I mean, Venom was black metal.
They don't get the credit for it. They don't get the credit for it either.
No, but it's like, yo, like I get it, and like some of the death metal bands today, whatever, they're, no offense, they're just trash compared to Possessed. Like, because the Possessed had the musicianship, the song structure, the vocals were like gritty, but not like you can't understand it. You know what I mean? But I remember back to Sacrifice, which you should listen. Like, seriously, Forward Determination and fucking their first album, Torment and Fire, dude, it's insane. But
yeah, I mean,
Canada,
I was listening to everything back then. You know, sometimes I just, you know,
dude,
there's just a couple. Sometimes there was some bands that just slipped through the fucking cracks. You know, like,
dude, Sacrifice is so fucking good. Like,
I mean, seriously, I knew Living Sacrifice, but didn't know Sacrifice. You know what I mean?
Sacrifice was huge, and like, and again, they're from Canada, they're from Toronto. But when I was with them, they played Toronto, and there was this hot fucking chick there, and it was that chick Lee Aaron. Remember Lee Aaron, Metal Queen?
No.
You know, oh my god,
who? Lee Aaron?
Yeah, dude, I gotta send you so much.
Are you talking about? I remember the Great Cat.
No, the Great Cat. She was from New York. Get the fuck out of here. The Great Catastrophe, you mean? Fuck out of here. No, Lee Aaron was like,
okay,
fucking banging, dude. And she was there. I was like, holy shit, she was fucking hot. Like, whoa. And I was just like, and then like she knew the guys in Sacrifice. Go figure. Because they're the only band from Toronto at the time. That and like a band called Slaughter. There was a band called Slaughter.
Okay.
And they had a great song called Strapato, and they were just like crazy thrash. The Sacrifice was dope. Then another band from Toronto that you should check out if you don't know about, really technical. Another one of my top 10s is DBC, Dead Brain Cells.
Yeah, I heard of them. Yeah,
dude, that album.
I couldn't name a song off the top of my head, but we were listening to them back in the day.
Dude, that shit was like, it's so technical and really
the crossover.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I remember. It's funny. I remember meeting Scotty in somewhere around this time, 88, 89, something like that. And he was telling me, like, he was annoyingly telling me how you were constantly listening to violence. Like, oh my God, that's all that fucking kid listens to is fucking violence. Fuck. When I didn't even want to. He's like, I refuse to listen to it just because that's all he would fucking talk about. I was like,
dude, when I got the Mechanics sampler, the 4 songs.
Yep.
Dude, Steve St. Clair gave it to me. He's like, here. I played that shit. That tape got the most play when I would pick up Scott to go to a show, or Charlie. That's always in my tape deck. And they're just like, dude, no. And I remember Charlie's like, hey, dude, I'm not getting into your car. If you're going to play that, I'm not getting into your car. I'm not. I'm like, dude, you know, it was like, that's amazing. That's all I played. Then when the fucking album came out, that was it. That was just like, that was it. I didn't pick up anything for like 2 or 3 years. Like, that was like, to this day, probably Eternal Nightmare is, I'm going to say, my favorite, I would say top 3 favorite albums of all time. Like, honestly, a Blind Illusion.
Blind Illusion? Really?
I love Blind Illusion, yeah.
Never got into Blind Illusion. I don't know what it was. It just
it's so technical. Like,
I don't know what it was.
I loved Blind Illusion. I loved Blind Illusion. You know why?
Illusion. Hold up. Is Blind Illusion over violence or under violence?
Oh no, under violence. Way under violence.
Okay. All right.
Violence. So it would be like it would probably be like a toss up between. I know you're gonna.
Who's your number one? Who's your number one?
Sorry, it's gonna be Injustice for All.
Really, Injustice for All. Okay.
I remember hearing that record when we were flying to Europe, and Charlie had it. He got an advanced copy, and I remember there was like a little bit of a tiff because Anthrax had that on State of Euphoria, had that part where it goes brrr, brrr, that one part of the song with that fast double bass.
Oh, really? And they thought that Metallica jacked them? No shit, huh?
Charlie wanted to hear that, and then we got that, and I'll never forget this. We're sitting in the back of the plane, and we're flying to Germany, and Charlie had this thing where it was like a dual port, because he was like balling back then, you know. It was like he had to have new technical shit. He had a Walkman from Japan that had two headphone jacks.
Oh, so two people could listen at once, right? And
I remember listening to the fucking the record, and he just was like fast forwarding it to that so you could hear one. You know what I mean? Like so. But listening to that record, there was no bass on it.
Now I want to listen to the State of Euphoria song because I don't recall this.
It's that I forgot what song is it, but it's like it starts off like that, and then that came out like 4 or 5 months before the Black.
You think Metallica jacked that shit, huh? All right. Or they thought that
at the time. It was just like, yeah. You know,
it could have been. Yeah, everybody was borrowing from each other back then, for sure.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, yeah. Everybody's borrowing from somebody. I mean, So there was a tiff. Did this go public? It wasn't a tiff. Between the Anthrax camp, it was like, I want to, you know, I heard this rumor that they had this, so he got the advanced copy a couple of months before the album came out.
Right.
And we were listening to it, and I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess, you know what I mean? But I didn't hear. I was so young, I didn't really give a shit, you know what I mean? But when I heard that fucking album, just the way it sounded and the way it was written, I mean, I love Master, I love Kill 'Em All, I love Ride the Lightning, but to me, and Justice is my favorite record that I could listen to over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Wow. Right on, man. Yeah, that's the one record. That's the one record for me that probably I kind of drifted a little bit on it. I listened to it a lot. But it just started to, I don't know, maybe there was other things out there at the time. Like this is like 89. So like it was starting to change. 89. It's like shit was starting to change. I was starting to go listen to other things, styles too at this point. So that kind of, I mean, one classic, you know, Blackened, sick, Shortest Straw, fucking incredible.
Yeah.
What the last song, incredible.
Yeah. Dyer's Eve.
Sorrow, like that. Yeah. Dyer's Eve, sick. Harvester of Sorrow, love it. But just something, it was getting a little too technical for its own good at times for me. So I was like, I don't know, just whatever, you know. I was starting to get into grunge and Soundgarden and, you know, fucking, you know, the underground grunge kind of pre Teen Spirit grunge.
Yeah.
So,
well, that first Nirvana record, Scott Koenig played for me before they came out, and I liked them. I liked Bleach. It was something I never heard before. You know what I mean? It was really heavy and muddy. And then
love Bleach.
But then when Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, I was like, is this the same band? Because it was so much more polished and so much more, you know, upbeat.
Right.
So I was like, wow. But I'd already heard Nirvana with Bleach. You know what I mean? You know, and I mean, that was when I heard Nirvana Bleach, I was like, holy shit, what is this sound? This fucking muddy, like just crazy. Like I couldn't understand. It was like the first time I heard remember the writer Stefan Shirazi?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he wrote for Kerrang, I think.
Yeah, totally. Love Chipper Cheeseburger. That's what I call him.
So he came to Scott Koenig's house and he gave us this new record of this new band. And he goes, play this. Dom, you're really going to love this. I'm like, why? He goes, it's kind of like in the Possessed vein. I'm like, it was Left Hand Path by Entombed.
Ooh, yeah, sick.
And when I heard that record, I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my God, that, I didn't understand what the fuck that was. It was so like.
That fucking guitar tone, was fucking mind blowing. Everybody was like, what the fuck is that shit? Killer album cover, like cool vibe, you know, like.
Yeah, dude.
Love that shit. Shout out to Entomb. I love LG. The singer is fucking. I still like. He comes to every show. Still, he's fucking rager. He's awesome.
So they had two singers, correct? That the singer on the 1st record is different from the.
LG's the singer. Yeah, the next album they had a different guy. Then they got LG back, and he's been in for the rest of time.
Because Clandestine was good, but it was a different singer. And then but later on, I still like them. I mean, I love Entomb. They're like, and then they had that. Did they have like a side band, the Helicopters?
I think the drummer from Entomb quit and formed the Helicopters.
Okay.
But the drummer for the first couple records, I think all the way up to Wolverine Blues was the same drummer.
That song, dude, they had set that guitar tone. They had that. It was
Hollow
so
Man.
cool. Oh God. Oh God. It's so heavy. It's so like bottom heavy. It's just like I don't even know. I can't like. Let's go back a little bit in time. Tell me how does the Headbangers Ball thing happen? First of all, I got a picture of Francis. Pull up that picture of Dom from Headbangers Ball era. You had long hair. You're this good-looking kid. I know. I mean, I still got long hair. Hey, who was that handsome bastard right there?
Put the other one up, Francis. Put the other picture up. That was good too.
Oh God, which one?
We got a really good one.
Oh, really?
Yes, that one right there.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That might be my favorite Dom DeLuca picture ever. Hey. And that's like top hit on the internet. Like when you Google Dom DeLuca, this is like the third picture. It's fucking great.
Yeah, dude.
Just a handsome fella though. All right, let's go back to Dom. Pull it down. How do you get the gig? So you look the part, that's for sure, and you get the gig with.
I got the gig with
I think your phone's sliding down.
Oh, sorry. I got the gig with MTV. I met this girl at a show and just befriended her, and then I knew she worked at MTV, but I didn't really know what she did, But I was being nice, nothing weird. It was just like, oh, it's a nice chick, whatever. And then, she introduced me to some other ladies because back then MTV was ran by ladies. You know what I mean? It was they were like they were running shit. And for about a year, I just I would always see them at shows, and when I was in New York, I would like get them passes because they didn't get enough passes for their crew to go backstage. And I was being nice. And then they saw me always like every band, like they saw me backstage, like, and everybody like loved me. Like, oh my God, it's Dom. You know what I mean? So one day I was talking to them and I was like, yeah, you know what? I was wondering if you had a job for me because I needed a job, but I asked a job meaning like, can I file paperwork or can I, sweep or I don't know, something. I didn't know the concept of MTV. I don't know, like Viacom. I didn't know, you know what I mean? I just thought MTV was like a store, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they said, hey, you know what? We're thinking about it. We may have something for you. Give us your phone number and we'll contact you. I'm like, cool. So they called me a couple of weeks later. It was actually like a month later. And they're like, hey, can you come up to the office? I'm like, sure. I went to the office and they were talking to me like, hey, we want you to, are you free this weekend, this weekend to meet us at the scrap bar? I'm like, yeah, sure. So they gave me like a call sheet and be here at 5:45, 6 o'clock. And I went. I still didn't know what I was doing. I just showed up.
Oh, they haven't told you what you're going to do.
They didn't tell me what I was going to do.
Okay,
they said we're going to have something for you. They didn't tell me, like, hey, just show up here. Here's a call sheet. I'm thinking, I had told somebody, I think it was Gordon Ansis. I was like, yeah, I think I got this gig at MTV, like being a gopher or something, because I got a call sheet. He's like, oh, yeah, it sounds like you're doing production or something. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting them food. I don't know. So I get there and it's like Ricky Rackman's there. I'm like, holy shit. And I get starstruck. It's Ricky Rackman. And he was kind of a dick to me.
Who is the host of Headbangers Ball at the time?
Yes. He's the host of Headbangers Ball at the time. He's doing a shoot. And he was very, very like, later on, I found out why. Because they were like planning on giving a co-host to Headbangers Ball, and that was me. I didn't know this.
Shit. Oh fuck.
So
he probably knows this, and he's like, oh, here's my fucking, who's trying to squeeze me out.
That's what he said in the Headbangers Ball documentary. He says, he's like, yeah, when I first met Dom, he's like, I don't want nobody taking my job. I thought he was out for my job, and I really didn't like him at first, but then he became like my little brother, which I did. So I don't know, and and I'm sitting there, and then I go, okay, we're going to this other club in New York to go see Ugly Kid Joe and Scatterbrain. And I'm like, cool, I know those dudes. I didn't, I knew Scatterbrain from being Ludacris before, and I knew Ugly Kid Joe.
Sick, great crossover band, amazing crossover band.
It's amazing.
Yeah, love that.
And then we knew Ugly Kid Joe because me and Phil, and I think Perry got into a fist fight with them at Foundations in 1990. Ugly Kid Joe, when they first started coming out.
No, that wasn't Ugly Kid Joe. That was Shannon Hoon. It was the Bumblebee song. Dude.
No, it was. I'm telling you, as me and Phil and Perry were walking through
Blind Melon, and it was Blind Melon.
Okay. We got into an argument with fucking. We got into an argument. Me and Phil. We got into an argument with fucking.
Anyway, go back to the story. Go back to the story.
Anyway, so I'm there, and then next thing you know, I see the guys in the band, like, oh, well, whatever, we're talking, and then this guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, you gotta go upstairs. I'm like, okay, I go upstairs, and I'm sitting there, like, here, they gave me like a clipboard with some questions. I'm like, again, I'm not knowing what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? So then he goes. Some guy comes and he starts like, I never been mic'd before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, well, what's going on? They're like, oh, we're micing you. I'm like, huh? But micing me for what? He's like, you're going to be talking to the kids? I'm like, what? No, wrong guy. You, Ricky. It's like, no, you. And he's looking on his thing. He's like, no, that's your Dominic. I'm like, whoa. I went and I said, hey, Nancy. I was like, I'm not doing this. She's like, yeah, you are. It's fun. You're good. Just go be yourself. And the camera's going. I said, no. I don't want to do it. I'm taking the mic off. And then my friend Eva, who got me the gig there, she's like, dude, don't embarrass me. Like, this is your chance. Like, don't fuck this up. Just be yourself. And I'm like, I didn't want to do it. I was like, this is like, so I said, fucking, I just did.
Is Ricky, my imagination is that Ricky Rackman is standing in the halls watching you get mic'd up and like fuming over here, right?
I'll never forget this. He's sitting like upstairs, like a VIP room. There's like a little area. He's sitting there with somebody, and he's just looking at me because I'm like this, and he's just sitting. I'll never forget this. He had his hands across, and he's just like this, looking, and I'm like, it still didn't occur to me, you know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck it. I go downstairs and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, you know what I mean? Like, this is like, I don't know what I'm doing. Just ask these questions, and I memorized the questions, and like, a drunk Whitfield Crane and a drunk Glenn from Scatterbrain saw me. They're like, oh shit, and they grab me. They see the cameras, like, what's up? And then I start feeling comfortable because it's my homies. And then I started talking to the kids, and I did this thing, and then I'm like, cool, whatever. Oh, Dom, that was amazing. Whatever. We're going to show it to the bosses. And they did. And then like 2 weeks later, like, hey, we got a job for you. I'm like, really? They're like, doing what? Like, doing that. I'm like, what? And that was it. I signed a year-long
you kind of became like, didn't you become kind of like the word on the street guy? Like
the man on the street. Yeah, I'm going.
That's what it was.
Yeah, the man on the street, and I go ask the most ridiculous questions, and then I started doing more stuff indoors with album reviews, like a album list of what albums are coming out, like a calendar.
Okay.
And I mean, it was good times. Don't get me wrong.
I remember seeing you on TV, and I was like, oh my god, that's the fucking dude that we were hanging out with in New York. That's fucking crazy. I was like, that's amazing. Like, he's fucking on Headbangers Ball.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I didn't have MTV at the time for the first year because you couldn't get it in Brooklyn. So
it was impossible to get in the Bay Area for a decade.
So when I remember the first night I was on, I had my friend Gordon, who played in Gnostic Front Leeway. He had MTV, I said, Gordon, call me when it's on. So I remember he called me and he put the phone to the TV so I can hear it was now, but I was like, oh my God, that's me on TV. You know what I mean? And he videotaped it for me. And then I got the videotape and I watched it and my mom was like, start crying. I was like, oh my God, this is like, back then being on TV was pretty huge. It was huge. And
it was fucking, I mean, this is like the prime of MTV. This is like, you're reaching tens of millions of people. It's not like, no, I don't know any single person nowadays who watches MTV, but back then it was like prime time. It was almost prime time.
Yep. And that was it, dude. And it was like, but again, I was never serious with half the shit in my life. I don't take it seriously. So, had I taken it seriously, maybe I would have done more, but I was just happy to get the little money I got and got to travel and got the free CDs and the backstage passes and hanging out with my friends. Like you got, hanging out with my friends, you know what I mean? It was like, I remember with Anthrax, it was like their proud moment. Like they're how do I put this? Like when your child learns how to ride a bicycle, without the training wheels. I remember like going on the road with them on the Sound of White Noise tour. And I'm in.
This is John Bush era, right?
John Bush era.
Yeah. And John Bush?
Second
First John Bush? Okay.
The second album. And I remember we're at this record store in Minneapolis, right? Because I'm with the band. I'm going with them. You know what I mean? So I'm staying with them. I didn't go to work. I went on vacation. I was like, hey, let me come with you guys. They're like, yeah, come. We stay in our room. Come with the bus, and it's gonna go back to New York. Like in 10 days. I'm like, cool. I'll just go. Right. And the reason I wanted to go is because I really pushed to get my friend's band on there, Quicksand. So it was Anthrax, White Zombie, and Quicksand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it was cool hanging out.
This is before White Zombie broke. This is Las Sextito or what?
Right. It's like when album first came out. Yeah. That's when it first came out. And then after that, they just went like this. They just forget about it.
They actually toured for a long time. I don't think people don't realize that they were touring that record for like a year and a half before the fucking Beavis and Butthead thing happened. And then it exploded.
Yeah.
Nobody really cared for a fucking year and a half though. At all. Like no one gave a shit.
Nope. And they blew up on this tour. And I remember going to this record store, and I was just going there because I'm gonna get some records, buying CDs. And then like the kids saw me there. They're like, holy shit, you're Dom MTV, blah, blah, blah. Can you sign this? Can you sign this? And I think the guy in the record store asked the band, like, hey, do you mind if Dom sits here next to you so he can sign autographs? and the band was like, sure. And I remember the band.
No, they weren't pissed.
No, like Scott and Frankie were the last. And Frankie and Scott, like Frankie looked, he's like, dude, this is like so funny. This is like the most surreal thing. Like, this makes us feel good. Like you're like the sixth member. Like they signed and then they come to me and I'm signing the album too. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
And it was so weird sitting there, and then I realized like, wow, I'm kind of famous. And then later that night, because in New York, New Jersey, the area, everybody knew me. So I would talk to everybody. I didn't think I was famous because in New York, it was like, oh, it's the guy from Lemoore. It's not like, oh, MTV.
Yeah, you were Dom from L'Amour's before you were Dom from Headbangers Ball, so nobody cared really.
Nobody, exactly. So I remember going to the first show, which was in Minneapolis, and watching Quicksand. And as soon as the lights went on, I was like, oh, I'm going to walk back now, right? The kids were like freaking out. Next thing you know, I'm getting mobbed. I swear my mother. I was so scared. I was signing shit. And I was getting like sworn. I was actually getting sworn.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. It was like 5,000, 8,000 people. And I couldn't go. And then I remember seeing Troy, Anthrax's roadie, saw me. And I was just like, and like he literally came out like two security guards from the venue and they pulled me out. And I was like, what the fuck? They're like, oh, like you made it to the big time. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So that was then I started knowing like, holy shit, this is like real, like this is, I'm not this dude. And Later on, I found out because I used to write all my fan mail, and like an idiot, I would put my home address.
Oh, you would reply to your fan mail.
All of it. And this girl showed up from Kansas to my home. She took a bus there 3 days.
Oh my God. She had a crush on you.
You know what's funny? I still have like 2 boxes of fan mail I kept.
Mm-hmm.
I still have it. You know what I mean? And I look at the letters and I'm like, man, it's so crazy. Like some like I wonder what these chicks look like now. You know what I mean? It's like, and the mail I would get a lot of mail from girls.
I mean, when you're doing Headbangers Ball, you must have just been getting pussy galore. Holy shit.
I did, and then I got a girlfriend like an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, but that was 2 years.
And then you cheated on your girlfriend with a lot of pussy.
You know what? I didn't want for the first 2 years. I didn't cheat on her. No, she cheated on me. Go figure. And then I was like, oh, peace. And then I had like another year left of.
Yeah.
Then I was like, all bets were off. I was out of control. You know? Yeah. It was good.
This is the slutty Dom era.
Beyond, like far beyond slutty. You know? Like that. Yeah. So it was, you know, it was pretty fucking. It was pretty, like, I think about it now, it's pretty surreal. Like, you know, when I look back, and you know what's funny, like some over the last couple of years, some girls, like younger girls I know from my scene now, and granted they're in their 20s, they're just like friends. I would never, but they look at pictures and they're just like damn, like you were hot back in the day. If I knew you back in the day, I'm just thinking to myself, man, if I was single and like now, like I feel like saying, what do you mean back in? Fuck you, bitch. Like what? But it makes me feel good, you know?
Right.
It's like
somewhere around this time, correct me if I'm getting the chronology wrong, but you start working for some record labels, including Def Jam. You work for a rock label, and somewhere you also start Brooklyn House, right? Like the streetwear company. Or is this after the record company stuff?
No. So the record company stuff was first, working for like Rush Management in '89.
Biohazard.
This before Biohazard even. This is like Beastie Boys.
Who's on Rush at this point? Oh, Beastie Boys. Holy shit.
Beastie Boys.
Wow.
Beastie Boys, Public Enemy, fucking Eric B. and Rakim, Jazzy Jeff and the French Prince.
Jazzy Jeff and the French Prince? Will Smith?
Yeah,
no
I remember
shit,
Will Smith. I remember Will Smith. I actually told his wife this story a long time ago, but I remember I had to come in on a Sunday because they were sponsored by this like clothing company, and they were on tour. And this is when Parents Just Don't Understand was like the biggest thing in the world.
Right.
And he was just
that one summer.
Yeah, dude. And he had his first year of his show that was on. It was hit. I had to go and sort through these boxes of clothing and get it ready to send out. And I went there with Scott Koenig on a Sunday, and it was snowing. And I'll never forget this. I'm sitting there, and there's nobody. It's snowing. And at the time, Rush Management was in the hood. It was like on the Lower East Side, but like it was really fucked up. And the phone kept on ringing. Like so I'm like, who the fuck is calling us on a Sunday? And Scott's like, answer it. And I keep on answering, and they keep on hanging up. So then somebody's ringing the doorbell, and Scott's like look at each other. Like,
this is Scott Koenig. This is Scott Koenig.
Yeah, Scott Koenig. And
shout out to Scott Koenig.
Shout out to Scott Koenig, the best dude ever. And we look outside, and I said, there's like a Rolls Royce outside. He's like, I don't know who the fuck it is. Like, I'm not opening the door. You open the door. I'm like, I don't open the door. You open the door. He's like, fine, I'll open it. Because now the dude who was outside banging on the door, like banging. I opened the door, right? Because you couldn't see outside. It's a big metal door. And there's been known times where people would come in and shoot people at Rush because there was a recording studio downstairs, and Rick Rubin lived all the way on the top floor.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the crazy violent time of hip hop.
Yes. So I opened the door, and standing in front of me, I had to look up, was this big 6'4", 6'5" dude in a fur coat and a fur hat. It was Eric B from Eric B and Rakim.
Oh shit.
He was there. He's like, looked at me. He's like, what's up, man? I was like, well, what's up? He's like, he looks around and goes, where's Leor? Where's Russell? I was like, oh, they're not here. We're just doing some work. I was like, Eric B, man. He's like, yeah, man, yeah. And he just is like, he looked. He's like, all right, I'm out. And he left. And I'm like, that was so surreal. And just to get back real quick, that happened 3 years later. My second or my third MTV shoot, I'm at the Ritz and I'm shooting Megadeth and Body Count. And Eric B walks in. I lose my shit. I run up to him with my mic and everything. MTV people don't know who the fuck this is. I do. Eric B, oh my God. I'm like fanning out. I'm like, I remember. And I said, can I interview you? And I'm like shaking. And I'm like, remember when this happened? And he's like, oh, wow. He's like, yeah. And we're talking. He was so cool. And that was like my second or third ever MTV shoot. It was with Eric B. Like he was one of the dudes I interviewed.
So you were working at Rush. How did you get in with the hip hop? I mean, this is like fucking one of the biggest hip hop management companies at the time, you know, and this is all, I mean, this is during kind of the thrash heyday, maybe the end of the thrash heyday also.
Yeah. I got there from Scott Koenig and just being downtown dude from CBGB's, just meeting those people. And I like the Beastie Boys. You got a job. You got a job there. I made $200 a week working. I was like Leo Cohen's like assistant. I would go and comb his cat. I would just do errands for him. Yeah, it was weird.
Wow. So how much were you getting paid at MTV? That was when MTV was fucking huge.
You ready?
I mean,
okay, wait. How much do you think I was getting paid per episode, per shoot?
I don't know, like $1,000 or something. I don't know.
Try 10% of that.
10%, $100.
$185 a fucking shoot.
That's like year. This is like MTV is raking in dough. I mean, just hand over fist. That's crazy. Yep.
By my third year, I was making $400 a shoot. My third year. But the thing was,
and that was all at Headbangers?
Yeah.
3 years. Yeah. Wow.
3.5.
That's a long time. I don't think I realized you were there for that long.
I was supposed to get the gig for when Headbangers went off the air and Super Rock happened. Right. Yeah. Which I'm kind of pissed about because I still have the paperwork. It was a fax because back then there was no emails. You would send faxes.
Right.
I came up with the concept of Super Rock about doing a show with like hip hop and metal. That was my concept. And eventually they liked it and they made it happen. I was going to be the host of it when Headbangers went off the air. Like I was penned. I still have it in my house. I have the draft of my contract. And then nepotism fell into play. This is when Nirvana was huge. And the person that became the host was Jackie Farry, who was Kurt Cobain's nanny.
Okay.
So Kurt pulled the power moves, like, yeah, we want Jackie Farry to do this new show and this and that. And then, she was horrible and it lasted 3 episodes and it went out of business. So, yeah, and that's when I was, at that time I worked for EMI Records and opened up Brooklyn House and DJ'd at Lemoore at the Limelight and the Limelight. And then I went over to Roadrunner and then back to Island Def Jam.
Roadrunner? When were you at Roadrunner?
95?
No, that was already Burn My House was already out. I don't remember 94? You ever working at Roadrunner.
Dude,
it must have been before we went there. It must have been Biohazard era. Like Biohazard era?
Yeah, Biohazard.
Because Biohazard is Rush Management at that time.
Biohazard era.
So it would have been like 92.
Okay, so 92. 93.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked there.
93.
And Monty still owes me money. We had
Monty Connor money.
Yeah, and he knows this. I'm going to call him out now. We made a bet.
Let's hear this.
I tried to
Monty,
sign.
he's putting you on blast. Let's hear this.
He remembers this. I wanted to sign. I brought them Orgy. This is late 90s. This is 95, 96. This is probably later. Maybe 96, 97. I worked for Roadrunner.
Okay.
I still have my business cards. But I brought them Orgy. And Monty said his big signing was dope. That, you know, whatever. So I was like, orgy, because at the time LA was like a hub for all these new bands. Like all these bands were coming out of it.
Tons of bands coming out.
So
I love that first Orgy record, Candy Ass. That's a really good record, man. Love that record.
I brought them that. And then
Jay is a funny motherfucker, dude. God damn, that motherfucker is hilarious.
Jay's the best. So I bring them this and they pass on it. And Monty's like, it's garbage. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is what's going on. Like, no. He's like, I'll make you a bet right here. I'm like, what? It was $1,000 bet that Orgy won't sell X amount of records the first month. Okay. Well, it was like 1,000 records, or it was something really low. When that shit came out, it sold 100,000 the first fucking month. And I'm like, Monty.
Yeah, that Blue Monday video was fucking massive. Dude.
And it went platinum in like 2 months. And Monty was just like, I said, where's my money? And then sure enough, like after that, I got fired. I got let go or whatever by Case Wessels. You know, because I was so, I was like very, like when I didn't get shits, that really put a thorn in my side. I was like, dude, because at the time I was an A&R consultant. That's how you make your money, you know, signing a band. And if it sold that many records, I would get a percent. That's like my money. Right. You guys are fucking not listening to me. You know what I mean? Like I had the same thing happen to me at EMI. I brought them the Deftones. That's how I met the Deftones. I brought Deftones. So I brought the Deftones because they were being managed by the same people that manage Sunny Day Real Estate. And how that happened was, and I don't care, this podcast is called No Regrets, so this is going to be very unfiltered and I don't give a fuck. I played that shit like an idiot for Guy Oseary. All right? The deal was already being made with EMI and Mike Schnapp and Fred Davis with the Deftones. And then let's see, you know, like 3 or 4 weeks later, they're like, yeah, we have to pass. Like Madonna wants to sign us. I'm like, what? And then later on, I find out that, you know, Guy, basically me playing for it, he's like, holy shit. He went and signed them. Which
wow, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that demo. I had that demo. They were good, man. The demo was really good. 7 Words was killing it.
I saw them. I got the demo and I saw them at Charisse Neal's club in LA called Club Ugly. And it was the Deftones of Rage Against the Machine. And I got Rage Against the Machine's demo that night too. But they already had a deal with Michael, the guy from Epic Records, Michael Goldstone, or he was trying to sign them or some shit like that. He did. Yeah,
when I was in Violence, I was going to see Deftones was like the house band of like all these clubs, and they couldn't draw a fuck. But I was like, there's something about these guys that's good, man. Like
they weren't drawing big crowds up north.
No, they not back in the day. They played a lot. They played a lot with this band called Unjust, and Unjust would always headline. They would always they would support Unjust, but they played all the time. And then eventually, like it started happening, and the songs got better, and you know, like then that demo dropped, and everybody was like, "Oh shit! Like this is fucking good." Yeah, they did the Davidian video shoot. They were support for the Davidian video shoot. They were still unsigned at that point. Yeah, they were still unsigned at that point.
What the fuck? Really?
Yeah.
That's trippy, dude. That's
in fact, Chino's texted me about this back and forth, and he always reminds me. But I guess the photos that are on the inside of Adrenaline are from that show. They're from the Davidian video shoot show. So all the photos that are in there, his photo especially is from the Davidian video shoot, which is crazy, right? Like this 7 degrees of whatever.
That's awesome, dude.
Let's go back to so you start. There was a time you finally think, okay, I want to start like a streetwear brand or a skate brand. You've been hanging around skaters and rappers, and I loved how you were talking about how you and Scott used to always go into town and go to the skate shop and buy shit. And I know what you're talking about because back in the early late 80s, early 90s, like you could go, and that's where all the cool shit was.
Yes.
All the none of the fucking malls had anything. Like all the cool shit was at the skate shop. So you had to go to the real deal skate shop, find that shit, and pick up whatever you could get clothing wise.
Yeah.
And so somewhere in there you start kind of like at a swap meet. You were saying that you had like some mobster friends or whatever that like to help you start it or whatever.
Yeah, that's how. So hanging around downtown, hanging out at Rush Management in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of these new streetwear brands at the time started popping up, like Pervert and Subwear and Project Dragon and even Fresh Jive and Stussy and Fucked. And these brands were, you know, very, very, it was subculture. You have to know, like extra large, even from the Beastie Boys, you know?
Right.
And once I got on MTV, I started wearing this stuff and, you know, wearing it on air. Like when you look at some of my old MTV stuff, I'm wearing like some old fucking, which I still have, like old fuck shirts, old pervert shirts. Like, holy shit, you know what I mean? That was my thing. And sure enough.
Yeah, and this is at the very, very beginning of the streetwear movement.
1991, 92, 93. It was, and you couldn't find this stuff. Very few shops had it. So then I started getting a lot of free shit from all these people, like sending me boxes of free shit. And my dressing room became so filled. I was like, you know what? I want to open up a store. But it was a lot of money at the time. I didn't know. And I was talking to my friends who were in the mob. Okay. Yeah. And then
you and Scott have a great story about how a friend of yours got made. This was a while ago, but like,
yeah. I've seen some shit. So back then there was this place called Caesar's Bay Bazaar, and it was it was like compared to like a swap meet on the West Coast. It's a big mall with all kinds of 2 floors with booths, and you could buy anything in there: jewelry, records, mixtapes, clothing, sneakers, food, anything. So we got this little. This is in Brooklyn, and we got this little kiosk. You know, it wasn't even a booth; it was a kiosk. It was like $600. It was $350 a week rent, and you were open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And well, the clothing was free, so I was like, "Fuck it, let's do it." So we called.
So you're taking all these brands and then going and selling those brands.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Holy shit, this like it's like a movement," because we were. I mean, literally, I sold out of everything in 2 or 3 weekends. Like third weekend, I had nothing. Like, and people were coming, and I was like, "Fuck." So I started calling my friends, like, "Hey, I got this booth and this and that."
Are you getting Are you getting the word out that that you're going to be there to sell this stuff, or people are just coming to the thing? Yeah.
No, it's word of mouth. And then my fucking partners, once they start seeing this shit and we start getting more stuff in it, they started making flyers, which I have some, like, "Come meet MTV's Man on the Street." It's like, you know, and then like the kids would come and like, "Oh, take pictures and stuff." And then my partners would be like, "Yo, you need to buy something if you want to take a picture." You know what I mean? Like that type of shit. So after about 6 months of that, we made enough money to open up our first store, which was called Brooklyn House in Brooklyn. And then I had that for about 5-6 years. And
how big is this? How big is this store? Is it like a pretty? I mean, it's like a small skate shop, right? Or like size
300
place.
square feet. It's about the size of your fucking office. Like it's small.
Yeah.
300 square feet. Like small as fuck.
Right. Like a bedroom.
Like a bedroom. Yeah.
But it's a skate shop, and it's also selling streetwear, or is it just selling streetwear?
Skateboarding and streetwear, because at the time streetwear there was no, it wasn't even Penn Streetwear. It was the skate lifestyle brand, like Fresh Drive was in. Now you look back, it was modern day streetwear. You know what I mean? Haze and fuck, it was all streetwear, and we were selling it. And then we had more brands than we know what to do with in there, and then it grew. And then
you had your own brand. You had your own brand?
No, not yet. No.
Okay.
I didn't do it. I didn't do my own brand till Brooklyn Projects 10 years later. Longer, probably, about 10, 15 years later. I never did my brand because it's like a whole nother, it's a whole nother business. Yeah. It's not like, let's make a design. It's like, no, you got to have a supply chain. You got to have the infrastructure. You got to have, where you're going to store it. You're going to get designs. You got to make it. You got to get samples made. Then you got to get the production. Then you got to send it out. Then it's like a fucking. So I was happy having the store and meeting people, and then that the Brooklyn Projects brand happened like about 10 years ago.
So walk me through Brooklyn House then. So how long does that stay at?
So around? Brooklyn House goes from 93 to 99. On both coasts. In 97, I opened up in Brooklyn House West on Melrose.
Okay.
So I'm going back and forth now. And it was great. I mean, it was great out here. And I started like
same partners involved on both?
No. I bought my partners out in 96. because they didn't want to do it anymore, and this, that, and other thing, and they had other jobs, wink, wink. So they were just like, so then I was like, okay, cool, here. And then I had that shop in Brooklyn, and then I opened up into the West Coast, and I was going back and forth, and then I sold, I'm going to give you a name right now. I sold Brooklyn House, my lease, the store, the inventory, everything in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, I sold it to Ken Creedy.
Oh, okay.
So this is when he had Typo Negative. He was blowing up, and he bought the name. He bought the shop. He bought everything, my fixtures, whatever merchandise I had, because I was done with Brooklyn, because I wanted to live in LA, because LA was so much more. It was banging. The weather, the chicks, all these pros. I would look in magazines. They would be hanging out in my store, and they were my friends now. So I was like, oh, this is where I want to be. And where
was Brooklyn house in a like busy area, like, or was it?
It was down the block from Brooklyn Products on Melrose. It was 10 blocks. It was 5 blocks.
No. Your store in Brooklyn was in
Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, you mean? Brooklyn, it was in like a really suburban, middle of nowhere. You had to take 2 buses or 3 buses to get there, or 2 trains and a bus. It was by Marine Park. It was literally nothing around.
Hard to make a scene there.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a scene because all the skaters would come there, and we did nurture a scene there. A lot of the people that worked and hung out at Brooklyn House became big in the skate world. Like, one of the kids worked for me. Through me, he got a job with Stussy being a model for them, and then started working at Supreme. The other kid became a fucking major skate photographer, one of the biggest, because he was hanging out at the shop and he started meeting these people, and you know what I mean? So it was kind of like a launching pad, just like it was in LA for a lot of people, a lot of brands.
Right.
So, but Brooklyn was, it wasn't happening. It was LA that was happening.
Yeah.
So that's
you move out to So you move out to LA, what, 97?
I fully moved out in 2002. I fully moved, like, end of 2001 after 9/11. I was like, I'm done with New York. And I fully moved here and started.
Pretty impressive to get a shop on Melrose right off the bat, though. That's fucking, like, you went for it, man. I mean, you like fucking threw all the fucking everything you got. Like, that's a big step.
That
must have been scary as fuck, opening up your own shop on Melrose.
It was, and I look back, and it was like more of a hangout. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, but it was working because I never know how to pay bills. I was just getting all this product and like pro skaters and partying and girls and drugs and fucking just crazy good times every fucking day. It was a hangout. It wasn't a business. It was like a clubhouse. But it was, looking back, I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? That's just like,
how much did it cost to get your place on Melrose originally back in the 90s?
Oh, everything all in, like $26,000.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No,
it's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, but it was like, the rent was like $2,300, $2,400 at the time, and
was Melrose. I mean, Melrose has always been happening, but is it like happening at that point? It's popping.
Back then, it was on the tail end of it popping. It started going down in like 99, 2000. So I caught like the tail end of it. But then, I was there when it started building back up again in 2002, 2003. It started going back up, and there I was. You know what I mean? But it was scary because I had Brooklyn House. I was working at the record label still. So I was like going to Island Def Jam on the West Coast in the Hustler building and going to my shop. Then I worked back at EMI, and then I worked at Universal Music Publishing. So, I was like,
holy shit.
Yeah. I was going back and, I was doing my consulting, seeing bands. So the shop, thank God, I think why it survived is because I wasn't pulling a salary, because I was getting money being a consultant. So that was how I was making my living. So that way the shop, I mean, if I had to pull a salary from there, it would have been out of business long time, because like, I didn't take it as a serious thing. It was always like a passion of mine. It wasn't like, this is my job, this is my career.
Right.
It was like, I just want to have this. It's cool. It brings me joy. It's like a big man cave. You know what I mean? That makes some money. But at some point, as you know, you have to like take your passions and like, okay, that's got to be a profession. You know what I mean? You can't just make it. You can't make a living, support your family. Oh, it's my passion project. No, you can have your passion.
So at this point, you're still doing just other people's brands.
Yeah. All the way to 2014.
Oh, okay. Somewhere in here, you kind of lose, like something, you start to lose it, or you lose your passion, or you lose, like things start not going well. You become homeless for a couple of months.
Yes.
Tell me about this. Tell me about this time. What's going on here?
So the original Brooklyn projects, the lease was up, and
so Brooklyn House is closed.
I closed Brooklyn House in 2000 because I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. Melrose is going down. The skate industry was in a weird place. You know, I lost my job at Island Def Jam at the time. I didn't know what I wanted. I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just didn't know what was going on, you know? So I was like, all right, Brooklyn House is done. I had a lawsuit against me, so I had to go bankrupt.
For what?
So let's take it back now a little bit. So I got the most of the money to open up Brooklyn House in LA by this girl who was part of the Sultan of Brunei's harem.
Oh, great. That's like the Sultan.
The Sultan.
Is that like what, Brunei is a country?
Oh, dude, because you like to read, you like to educate yourself, and I love that about you. If you looked up the Sultan of Brunei, you will get blown away beyond. This will be one of the most single things in your life, in your whole entire life, that you'd be like, what the fuck? You'd be like floored. It's like finding out that fucking Bigfoot exists or Elvis is alive somewhere. It's like one of those things. So the Sultan of Brunei was this dude. He's still around. It's a family. Brunei is a small little country in the South Pacific or Indian. It's in the.
Never even heard of this country.
It's the richest country in the world.
Crazy.
It's all oil, and he's the Sultan, and he has his brothers, Prince Hakeem, Prince Jeffrey. There's one more. And
so you're dating
one
of the girls in the harem?
No, let's go back. So
you're making porn with the girl there.
No. It's way crazier than that. So I'm out here about to open up Brooklyn House West. Okay, I had probably about $15,000 of my money, right? But I need another 15, 20 grand, money to do it. This one dude was going to invest with me. He backed out the last minute after I pretty much given a deposit to the landlord, and so I'm fucked. So I'm about to fly home back to Brooklyn, and about to not do it, about to like forfeit the rent, the deposit I gave, which was only 1 month. I was really upset, sad. I went to this, I missed my flight. I go to this club in Hollywood on a Tuesday night to meet a friend. He didn't show up. And I see these girls hanging out there, and it's like fucking 8 or 9 of them. And one of them is this chick, you'll know who she is, Bobby Brown. Cherry Pie Girl.
Mm-hmm, right.
And she's there with some fucking insanely...
From Warrant's Cherry Pie video.
Yes. So she's there with a bunch of girls, and one of the girls, or 2 of the girls, were like, oh my God, we met you in New York. I met these girls in New York a couple of years before, and I saved them because they were at a club I was hanging out at, and they were taking pictures in the club of this drug dealer, and he wanted to kill them, literally. So I kind of like saved them because they were young, nice girls. They're like, oh my God. They're like, I'm like, holy shit, whatever. Nice to see you again, talking, buy me drinks. I'm like, wait, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a hotel because, oh no, stay with us. I'm like, okay, sure. They take me to their house in the hills. These girls like 18, 19. And I'm like, and I've seen this before. I mean, hanging out with some celebrities and stuff back in the day. But these girls are young and have like a fucking 7 Series BMW, a Range Rover, an old school Thunderbird. Right. I'm like, what is this? I go into his house. I'm like, whoa. Like, and then I look around. It's, first of all, it's really messy. Like, clothes, boxes. Like, and I'm looking on the counter. There's money. There's drugs. There's diamond watches, diamond earrings. Like, this like garbage. And I'm like, what the? And I'm thinking, I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking, damn, I can fucking just take this fucking jewelry right here and I can go fucking buy a car, a fucking store. You know,
you got your store, yeah.
Everything and some. But I didn't. I was like, fuck it. So I'm hanging out, and then they're like, oh my God. I said, I'm leaving tomorrow. Like, you should stay, please stay. Both of them, please stay, please stay, please stay. I'm like, I don't have no money. Well, what are you here for? I told her, like, how much do you need? And I said, I don't know, like 30, 40 grand. I just threw a number out. Okay, hold on. She goes and she comes back.
Oh my God.
With $60,000 cash. I'm like,
holy shit.
So just take it. Just take it. And I was like, okay. I'm like, for what? She goes, no, we have enough. And her girlfriend was like, yeah, we have enough. Look, we have a lot. Don't worry about it. I'm like, what do you girls do? Like, oh no,
wow.
we just do like modeling and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I didn't know. Still, I don't know at the time. I don't know. So then I'm like, talk to my boys. I'm like, dude, like the next day, I'm like, dude, we got money for the store. I'm like, I got all this money with this girls. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then like, they're like, yeah, so we're going to go out of town. Me and Tiffany, her friend, it was this girl, Sarah, and a girl named Tiffany. Like, hey, do you want to stay here and watch our house and we'll pay you? I'm like, no, we'll give you money every week so you can go buy dinner and like buy stuff for yourself. I'm like, what's the catch? Like, oh, nothing, just to hang out in the house. We'll be back in like 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, okay, where are you going? Like, oh, we're going back to work. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You can use any of the cars except for the Thunderbird because it was still being worked on. This classic Thunder T-Bird. So I remember
that's just fucking wild. This is just the wildest story.
So I go and pick up my boy Dave, who you know, Dave from STS, and he used to work at a tire garage. You know Dave. He played, but he's in a band now. Fuck, I don't remember the name of it, but Throwing to Exile, I think he's in now. Big Dave for Philly. But I go and I pick him up in his brand new BMW, and he's like, what the fuck? I was like, dude, you're not going to believe this. I took him to the house. I showed him the house. He's like, what's going on? I mean, I know. So then they call me a couple days later. They're like, hey, how are you? How's the house? You know, can you let the power guy in? I'm like, yeah, sure. The cable, yeah. Like, so there's money. We left money in Tiffany's bedroom. Like, there's money there. There's an envelope there for you, so you can buy food and go take your friends out, go to strip clubs, have fun. I'm like, all right. Yo, there's 60K in cash in the fucking envelope.
Holy shit.
It was like a little less. It was like 50-something thousand. And I remember they called back a couple days later. I said, listen, can I do anything with this money? Like, yeah, do what you want. I said, can I buy Dave a guitar? Like, you can do whatever you want. Buying Dave a guitar, going to strip club, buying this.
Lap dances for everybody.
Yo. So that's how I got most of it. And then when they came back, I found out that I'm like, what do you guys do after like 5 months? What do you guys do? We're part of this thing. And I'm like, what is this thing? And they showed me a video. I'm like, what the fuck? This is like, yeah, we're part of this harem. And like, sometimes we have to fuck Prince Hakeem or Prince Jeffrey, but there's like, there's like 5 different harems, different girls. And like, there was like celebrities in these harems, girls that were on like soap operas. Cause they would go there a month now. They would make $125,000 a month.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Just to be part of the harem?
Yes. And then
crazy.
And then if you look at Sultan of Brunei, you'll see how it all came down. It came down in 2000 because Miss America, who won Miss America, she got on that program and she went there thinking it's a modeling job. We're going to make $200,000 a month.
Oh shit. And
they took her passport and then she found out she had to like suck dick and eat pussy, and she wasn't having it, and she blew the whistle, and that whole thing fucking imploded. Yo, she showed me video of Michael Jackson performing for all these rich people. And like, wow. It's like, It's like, read up on it. It's mind blowing. It's still going on right now. It's like the richest country of oil, more rich than any Saudi country. It's like the spot. It's Brunei. It's a small little island, and they were part of this harem. So eventually, they all run out of money. They're not part of the harem. They lose all this money, and then one of them starts suing me for the money. So I had to go bankrupt.
For the money that they. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when I opened up Brooklyn Projects, and then after having
and then you get in the lawsuit, and then you lose, and then
everything,
you lose.
and I became homeless. So I lose everything. I had to get rid of Brooklyn House. I lost everything because I had to go bankrupt. Then I opened up Brooklyn Projects. I had that going for 9 years, and then right when the
what pulls you out of, I mean, I would imagine in the 2 months that you're homeless, that you're a lot of soul searching, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, what is the moment where you're like, I mean, I'm sure, a lot of times when you're in a dark place like that, it's like you're despondent, like you consider suicide, you consider a million fucking things. And like, what is it that, that gets you out of this, and B, the thing, these dark places, how deep does it go?
So I was in two dark places. So I wasn't homeless until Brooklyn Projects closed down. So the first part was when Brooklyn House closed down, when I had to go bankrupt, I had nothing. That was the first time that I had no. This is still in Melrose?
This is Melrose?
Melrose, yep.
All
this
right.
was 2001. Beginning of 2002, I had nothing. The only income I had was I was working the door at a club once every weekend, one night a week. And that was barely enough to pay my rent out of roommate at the time. But I had no money to eat. But I had a little money saved from selling CDs and this and that. So it didn't hit me until I didn't ask for money from anybody. Though if I would have asked people, they would have stepped up, because I would go out with friends and they would pay for dinners because they were a little bit more balling than me. But I remember I had no money. I didn't get my check from the club, which was, $200. Wasn't a lot. And I remember, I'll never forget this. I was scrounging through my apartment, through the couch, looking for change, under the couch, under my bed, in pants. And I pulled together like $3 in quarters and nickels and dimes and a dollar bill. It was like $4. That was it. And I went and I lived down the block from 7-Eleven. I walked there and I got like 2 hot dogs and a soda, and I'm sitting there and I'm eating this. And I'm like, is this my fucking life? Like, this is it? Like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? I can't do this. So I picked myself up. I was like, all right, what can I do to make money, to get my head straight? My friend had an escort service, and I drove for him. I didn't want to, but I said, listen, I need a job. He's like, I got you, dude. You can come here X amount of nights. I'll give you my Cadillac. You go, you pick up the girl, drive her to the place, you hang out. If there's any problems, go in there, handle your shit, and then wait for the girl. And so I started doing that, and he was paying me like $150 a night. And I was just going driving around these fucking chicks, which one of them was Fergie, Stacey Ferguson, oddly enough.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I started like, okay. And I started getting I'm making money now. I'm making like $600 a week, cash. And I'm like, okay, I have money. I pay my rent. I have money to go out, buy clothes, buy food, eat dinners. And I started feeling good about myself. I was like, okay, now I got to get the store back. So I talked to my partner, Murph, who passed away a couple of years ago. I said, yo, I want to open up a skate shop. Are you down? He's like, how much do you need? I said, I need about 30 grand because I'm going to do it. And he's like, I got you. Because he was in his hustling game. He gave me a bag of $30,000 cash. And then we opened up Brooklyn Projects in 2002.
What's Murph's background here? Like, what, he's in the hustling game?
He sold weed, but then he had a fucking hair salon, and he was big into jiu-jitsu. He was from O.J. Venice, dude. Like, you don't want to fuck with him. Everybody knows Murph. Rest in peace, Murph. He passed away 2 years ago, which was a big shocker to all of us. But he was like my brother. He was like family. He came through in a dark time, and And we built this fucking thing. And
are you, I mean, like thinking about like the skater scene too, like, I mean, you must have been pretty involved with like the Suicidal Dudes. And I remember like, didn't the Excel dudes have like, Excel dudes had like Dogtown or worked at Dogtown skate shop? And
yeah, I was down with them. Like Dan from Excel worked for me for a long time, you know? And, you know, we opened up Brooklyn Projects, and right at the time when Hollywood was popping, like we were part of the club scene, the celebrity scene, and it was fucking a perfect storm. And now
again on Melrose,
Melrose, right across the street from
same
Brooklyn
spot you're in now. Same spot you're in now.
No.
Oh, different spot.
Different spot. So we had that going for about 9 years. And then the lease was up. And they were like, yo, they're going to jack my rent up double. And I was like, I can't do this. So like, oh, you're out. So now I lost my store again. Now I lost my income. Now I have no consultancy gigs, nothing. So now I couldn't pay my rent. I became homeless for like almost a month. I was living in my car, living on people's couches, no money, didn't know what to do. I remember I borrowed, I think it was like $4,000 from my mom to go and get an apartment because I needed an apartment. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I have some sneakers. I have some bikes. You know, I got my apartment. I got an apartment more expensive than the place I was staying. I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking set my bar so high so that way I can, you know, that'll make me work harder. You know,
have to rise.
Right. And I did it. And the person that came to, like, I remember I had this business plan and I needed like, you know, 40, 50 grand to open up the store, maybe a little less. And I was going around with this business plan trying to get people to invest in me. And bless their souls, a lot of my friends, celebrities, whatever, they thought like, oh, this is the third time, dude. Like, get a job, dude. You can't do it. It's not about the money. We don't want to see you fail. We don't want to see you go through this again. Go get a job. People in companies that I sell, like, dude, we don't want to sell you even. We'd rather hire you, work for us. I'm like, fuck you guys. And then people were just like, you know what? I'll give you $1,000. I'll give you $5,000. I'll give you $2,000. I'm like, well, I would have to have like 30 partners. You know what I mean? And I didn't want that.
Right.
And the person that came through out of nowhere was our boy, Mike Pooch.
Oh, wow. Yep.
So Mike Pooch is my friend from Staten Island, from Brooklyn for decades. Family. Right. So Mike knows some rich people. And I said, hey, can I send you this business plan? He's like, yeah, send it to me. And I called him back a week later. I was like, so what's going on? He's like, yeah, I gave it to this one now. He goes, but let me ask a question. He goes, why don't you fucking ask me? I was like, I don't know if you have the money. He goes, you don't know what I have. I was like, yeah, but I don't know if you want to do this. He goes, I mean, I love this shit. He goes, I was like, so what are you saying? He's like, well, do you want me to be your partner? I was like, do you want to? He's like, fuck yeah, I want to. And that was it. He came out here. We started, me, him, and Murph. We started the fucking corporation. We built the store I'm in now. We built it together. And here we are, 10 years later.
Yeah. And you started the brand at this point now.
I started the brand like 5 years after we opened the shop, because all the brands that we had started in our store helped cultivate, they had their own stores on Fairfax. So it was harder finding that new brand. So I was like, you know what? Time to start. I'm tired of working for other people. I'm tired of blowing up other people's brands so now it's going to be Brooklyn Projects. So
what was the brand though? Because I remember you had a brand a while ago. Like I remember getting shirts from you like 10 or 15 years ago of your own brand. Pretty like it was kind of satanic-ish, but it was like on white t-shirts.
It was probably a brand that I was working for.
Okay, gotcha.
And I was doing consulting, like seeding.
All right.
Because I did that for the Hundreds. I did that for Diamond. I did that for a bunch of brands.
It wasn't any of them. It was a brand that I don't really recall what it was.
WSC?
That might have been it.
Yeah, that was a Swedish brand I worked for 10 years, and I helped build their brand in the United States. And I was giving that to everybody. Like, it was like some good clothing from Europe. But it was like some high-end shit. It looked they had like some like death metal-ish type of graphics on some of their shit.
Yes.
So that was WSC. So That was in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. But then we did Brooklyn Projects in 2014. No,
Right.
sorry. 2012 is when we first launched our fucking shit. 2012 is when we first launched it.
Yeah. So the store is Brooklyn Project, but then you didn't launch the brand Brooklyn Projects till 2012.
Yep. But going back to you, in 2008, we did do one collection of Brooklyn Projects t-shirts, and I sold it to people. Wait a second. I did sell it to people, but I got burned on it because a lot of the stores I sold to didn't pay me. So I deaded the fucking brand.
No, we just lost you.
No, somebody, Big Chris called me from DMS.
Okay, gotcha. Shout out
to
Chris.
Big Chris, love Big Chris. So that's I did it for like not even a year the first time, but because everybody burned me, you know how it is, like doing all the work and not getting it by myself. I was like, I'm done. I can't. It's just too much. So, but now I had to like do it to survive because I need my own brand, because it's like you make more money, obviously, but also it's you get more creative, and like, you know, if you help out your own brand, you're helping out yourself. You're not, you know, if I sell another brand's shirt, they're making money. They're making all of it. I'm making nothing. So
right.
You know,
yeah, the cut that you're getting selling it at a store is, you know, you're getting a little bit of a markup basically.
Yeah. But now with, like, you know, doing your own brand, you know, it's like fucking, you're making quadruple what you would make selling somebody else's shirt, you know?
Sure.
So that's when I started doing it.
You said something really interesting that, you know, I have to say, listen, I'll tag that podcast in this, because you do go over some other, you know, you go a lot more into the skate scene on that other podcast, and really talking about, you know, how long you've been a part of the skate scene, and really being a part of the skate scene and the BMX scene and all this stuff. Yeah. And, you know, and I, you know, like you and me always talk metal, you know, like we know metal, we can go back and forth. I'm until the cows come home, you know?
Yes.
But listening to you go on about the skate scene was really, it was awesome. You know, like it was really, and it really, you know, so much of what you were saying was like a parallel to my life, because, you know, you see so much fake shit come into the metal scene, and like you see so much like just Volt come in and like sprinkle this shit with like, oh yeah, like we'll get this we'll get this guy to plug this band, and like, you know, like, no, fuck you, like these like okay, you got shit tons of money, yeah, fuck you and your 2-page ad, like you're drawing 28 people. You know what I mean, like, but you see a lot of that. And, you know, you were talking about quite a bit of that in the skate scene, and one of the things that you started talking about was just your integrity to the skate scene. And you know, I've watched you on Instagram, like, you don't give a fuck, like you put motherfuckers on blast, like straight up on blast, you know. And it's like, you know, at first I didn't really understand it, because some of these people are just, I don't even know who these people are sometimes.
Right.
But listening to you talk about it, it really made me understand, you know, how much it is, because so much of it is about not necessarily protecting the culture, but making sure that the culture of it doesn't get watered down by this fucking, you know, you had a lot of choice words for Supreme sometimes, which I thought was like really, you know, I thought it was great. So, you know, maybe talk about that.
Well, you know, here's the thing. It's like, you know, how long, you know, like there's been so many times in my life, like me and you, I thought at least, you know, being in the music scene, you would see it's known to be, you know, entertainment industry and the music industry are known to be like the biggest, you know, scumbags. Your best friend will, you know, fuck your mom, your wife, and take your bank account in the music scene. And it's par for the course. That's how it is. So you're very, very like, you know, you're very, very, you're very aware of things, and you're very choice about who you really fuck with. And then, you know, back in the 90s, you know, there was like, and I'm not talking shit, but there was like that the firm management that was like the supreme of the music. If you were part of that, it was like this clique. You're in all the clubs, getting all the tours,
Korn, Limp Bizkit, Cold,
you're getting it all, and you know, and you keep it tight. You don't let nobody in, and you build this empire because you have that bargaining chip. But in the same breath, they would also hold you down. Like, oh, like Machina, no, fuck them. They're not part of us. So, you know, you want our other band, like, you know, and that shit happens all the time. And I get it. That's part of the business. So when I left the music business because of that, the streetwear skate business is 100 times worse. And you know me for fucking damn near a lifetime. Okay. And you know, like, yeah, I do talk shit and you know, and I'm all over the place sometimes and whatnot, but you know that my intentions have always been like, I'm always a fan. I'm very passionate. And, you know, I'm not out to do you or anybody dirty. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to help. You know, yeah, even back in the violence days, I'm always like, let me drive you guys around. Let me go do this. Let me do this. Something, you know what I mean? I'm always like I'm down to help, down to be your friend. You know, I'm just happy to be around you guys, you know, and help where I can. So I came with that attitude in the skate scene. And in the 90s, it worked. Everybody started hanging out in my shop because they had no place to hang out at. But now I gave them a place, and I'm getting them into clubs and this and that. So, you know, because of me nurturing this scene in Hollywood where there was no scene, it created this scene where Supreme opened up a couple blocks away from me. Because right. I did all the legwork. And then when you have people that you carried and you supported for so many years, and it goes back to the music thing. It's like almost like taking out, if you guys took out like, I'm just like the 5-finger death punch, let's say, and you took them out for like 2 years and you supported them and you did everything. And next thing you know, they become this big thing and they act like they don't fucking know you and they don't even want to put you on a fucking opening act. It's like, man, you guys are fucked up. Now times that by 100. That, you know, and it's like all these people that I've helped out, they act like they don't know me or hi Dom, and they don't want to like help me. And it's like, well, fuck you guys. Then you've taken from me, and if you're not going to give me the respect I need, then fuck you. You know what I mean? Fuck you. And I'm just gonna call you out for what it is. And you know what the thing is? People talk shit, but I can back it up. I could pull up email. I could pull up pictures. I could pull up articles. I could pull up stuff like I can actually back my shit up. Like, you know, this is factual. This is what it is. I'm not lying. It's the truth. Just because you don't talk about it and you try to stifle me, well, fuck you then. Because now is a time where I need your help and I never did you wrong. So I understand have these little fuckboys that go to Supreme to ride for them. I get it. It's the glitz and the glamour. Big fucking deal. But you started with me. I carried your fucking ass for so long. I fucking drove you around. I gave you product. I fucking nurtured your skate career to get you that level. And now you act like you don't know me. I don't, you know, cool. Ride for Supreme. I know the owner of Supreme. Supreme does nothing for skateboarding. Nothing. Just now, they did this COVID relief t-shirt. Great. For the homeless people in Brooklyn, whatever. Great. Then they do another t-shirt for the Vogue Fashion Institute, whatever, to help starving designers and artists. It's like, you guys are a skate company. Why not make a t-shirt and give it to skate shops to sell so we can make some money? What is it to you? Why? Because you're not a skate company. You're not. You fucking take from it and you don't give back. You know what I mean? Like, dude, if I had $100 million, I would fucking go and hire every fucking skater and fucking, you know, I'd put it right next to Supreme and I would fucking just make sure that shit just got burned down to the ground. You know what I mean? Because like they don't do nothing, but yet they pose themselves and nobody calls them out because everybody still wants to be a part of that. They want to be a part of that little clique. When meanwhile, half the clique are a bunch of cornballs. They got in there through who they know, whatever. But when you take them away, it's like strength in numbers. Each one of those guys separately, they're fucking whack. But of course, when you get the nerdy guys, they're the cool guys. You know, in high school, you know, you would talk to the nerdy dudes. When it was time to study for a test, you would talk to your nerdy friends because they would help you. But that's what it is. It's the nerd crew. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just bullshit. And it's like, I'm just angry because between them and like Virgil Abloh, who came in and never gave back to skateboarding, but took it all and fucking used it and saying, oh, streetwear is dead. Because you fucking took it and you burned it. You didn't pay it forward. The Jerry Lorenzos who took like heavy metal shirts and fucking put his little label and sold it for fucking $500. Like, you're taking something that you're not into. Like, you weren't into that shit. Like, I never seen you. I've known you from
culture vulture.
Right. Then that's what it is. The scene has become a bunch of culture vultures. And, you know, the only way I can fucking accustom it to is like poser metal. But even with hair metal, poser metal back in the day, they were only a few went from like, there were certain bands that went, they were like total glam, and then they went to like, oh, now we're grunge, like Alice in Chains. Love them. Top fucking favorite bands ever. But they were a glam band. But they weren't posers. But there was certain hair metal bands, they just looked like chicks.
Pantera were posers. Yeah.
Huh?
Pantera were posers.
Yeah, Pantera posers. Exactly. They were like,
we all knew that they were posers.
Right. But they came and they did it right. And these guys, they act like they're culture because they take and they don't give back. Pantera, let's say, they came, they took, and then they gave it back. They took out everybody.
They did.
Now, one band did they say no to. So these other brands, they never came to me. So after so many years, well, I'm gonna fucking call it out. Fuck it. What do I have to lose? What are you not gonna do something with me? You already don't. What's the point? So maybe now I can shed a light at least and make people go, oh man, you know, he's right. He brings up a good point. And if I get like 1% of people to go, damn, I'm not fucking with them anymore, then my job is done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it sucks, dude. It sucks seeing people.
And a lot of people do want to come into the skate scene to like get the coolness of it, and they can afford to buy it. You know, like if Versace wanted to start a skate team, like they could start a fucking skate team and give everybody hell of money.
Well, Supreme is owned by the,
but it's not going to be fucking real. It's not going to be real.
No, it's not going to be real. And it's like, I remember in the late 90s, there was, you know, it's Skechers. Skechers was doing a skate team in the late 90s.
Okay.
And everybody laughed. Exactly. And they paid a couple of pros, and everybody was like, oh, hater, hater, hater. It's like, what's the difference of Skechers doing it and Supreme doing it? Supreme ain't doing it to skating well because they pay skaters and they do a collab with Thrasher. They're not, yes, they're a skate shop, but they're a boutique. What have they done for skating? They don't, you know, even like when they put out their charity video, there was a cry for them to give the video to skate shops.
What's the cherry video? What's the cherry video?
Skate video. That was their skate video that came out a couple of years ago. And they wouldn't even sell it to skate shops, a skate video. So just because you sell skateboards doesn't mean you're a skate brand. Dover Street Market, which is like one of the highest end stores in the world, and Harrods in London, they sell skate shit by a couple of certain quote unquote skate brands, but they're not a skate shop. And here's where I drop the mic, so to speak. You go to Supreme, you try to buy a complete skateboard. I don't know of any skate shop in this God's green earth that you go and you buy a complete skateboard and then they'll put it together for you. Buy a complete skateboard from Supreme.
Shit.
They give it to you in a bag, put it together yourself.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
That's not a skate shop. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't even, you know, it's funny. I mean, granted, I have my own streetwear company. I'm a fucking gnat on the ass of the streetwear world. You know, we're a microscopic company, but in my mind, Supreme isn't even a skate company. Like they're like more like a rapper, just kind of flossing big baller.
It's a streetwear company, and they,
you know, overpriced fucking, you know, hoodie, like a fucking independent hoodie with fucking the word Supreme on it that they're selling for $150 when it costs them, you know, fucking 30, maybe 15 to make.
Listen, their claim to skateboarding is they hire skaters to work at their shop. Bless them. They pay their skate riders really well. Bless them. They give them free product, which the kids then take and flip it. Bless them. The workers make good commission and make good salary. Bless them. But as far as that, they're not really helping out the skate community. You know what I mean? They're not really helping out, especially now. You know what I mean? What are they? What have they now? That when you know, there's this story going around that I'm not going to mention their name because it'd be, they'll get in trouble. Somebody get in trouble. But there was a skate footwear brand about 10 years ago when the recession hit. They went to Supreme because Supreme had did a bunch of collabs with them, saying, "Hey, listen, we're doing this collab with you again. can we take a certain colorway and give it to like a select group of skate shops? Or can you do like, these people are getting the same shoe, different colorway. Can you offer them a hat and a t-shirt just to 50 shops so they can get the hype to help?
Yeah, something different from something different from the mall. Something different from
It's a one and done, and it's 50 shops only, and it's one and done. It literally,
which is very, very common in the skate world too, by the way. Like
very common, and
most common thing in the world.
And it would cost, like, let's say how much money Supreme would lose by doing that. They would lose probably about 10 grand, okay, total 10 grand if they didn't sell those pieces. And they said no twice during the recession. Okay, now this is big global pandemic. Shops are closing down left and right, skate shops. You guys are doing it. Why not do a fucking, you're helping out the Vogue Fashion Award thing to help out designers. What about the skate? You're a skate brand. What about helping out the skate shops? Why not make a fucking t-shirt and give it to certain skate shops and let them eat? Let them make some money. Why not? They don't. You know what I mean? They don't, because they're fucking frauds and they're fakes, and that's just the way it is. You know, and like like the internet says, like, oh, change my mind. Okay, you know, like show me what they've done other than pay some skaters to ride for them. What have they done for skateboarding? You know, like, you know, what? If you said, oh no, they've done this, they've built skate parks, they've sponsored skate events. You show me. They haven't. So, you know, I don't care. I have nothing to lose. Certain brands don't fuck with me because I have such disdain for them. But those brands, at first, they didn't want to sell me. It's funny. A couple of brands who are like some of the hype skate brands that were at Supreme. Yo, can I carry it? No, we're at Supreme. It's like Supreme carries 2 of your boards and maybe 1 of your t-shirts, if you're lucky, for like a month or 2. I'm carrying thousands of dollars. And eventually they all come back to me and I take them all in. There's a few I said, you know what? No, fuck you. Fuck you. You're too cool for me, and I'll go fuck yourself. Now, because you're not carrying Supreme anymore, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Because eventually when they get in here, they're like, wow, man, you've done more in one order than Supreme did a whole season. You know, yeah, I know. So
Supreme carries other brands as well?
Yeah, they do. They carry a couple other skate brands, but
okay,
it's not though. Like when you go in there, it's maybe 10 other board brands total, and maybe 6 t-shirts from other companies. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
How is that supporting skating? I don't know. You come to Brooklyn Projects, there's fucking 50, 60 boards on the wall. There's various brands. You know what's funny? They hacked into my fucking computer. I knew it.
I tell you what, you and I have talked about, you know, the current state of the world. We've talked about president getting elected.
Oh,
you know,
God.
you hold on, let me make sure Francis is good here.
I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Francis, you good? Just pop on for a second and tell me you are.
Yeah, I see the recording light.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, recording. All right. I think he's chatting me. Okay, cool. You know, it's funny because you, maybe more than a lot of people I know, you were kind of around Donald Trump back in the day, which is surprising, right? Like, but you know, you've told me a lot of stories. You and Scott, you know, have told me some fucking crazy stories about
the OJ story.
That you've told me that, but you know, go ahead and you know, I just wanted to kind of pick your brain about some of these stories. You know, a lot of the hanging out in the club with Ukrainian hookers and shit like that. Like, I mean, tell me about what your interactions with Trump were back then. You know,
well, back in the day, Trump was very, very. We were all younger, and Trump was really cool. He was like that rich dude, you know, like, oh, you know, and like, you know, he's just like the New Yorker, you know, and he was a cool dude. He hung out with, you know, Russell Simmons and this one and that one. He was, you know, he was a Democrat back then too. So he wasn't what he is now. And
a lifelong Democrat. He's a lifelong Democrat.
Yeah. Lifelong Democrat. And you know, I remember the night he met Melania. He was still going out with, I think, Marla Maples, I believe. And it was at the Soho Grand Hotel. And Melania was here with a bunch of girls with this guy named, was it Carlos? This booker from an agency that specialized in models from the Ukraine, quote unquote models. You know, they were, you know. And I remember.
Are you saying they were prostitutes?
I mean, for a lack of a better word, you know what I mean?
They were models, quote unquote, yeah.
So, you know, it's you know, it's definitely it was weird seeing him hanging out with this chick and then marrying her. You know what I mean? Like eventually marrying her. And you know, back in the day, he was like this dude that, you know, he fucked a lot of hookers. He was like that dude and giving big tips of money. And, you know, everybody knew, you know, what his deal was later on, you know what I mean? You know, and then, you know, once he started changing.
What's the O.J. story?
The O.J. story is that me and Scott were hanging out in the model scene, like really hardcore with like Linda Evangelista and fucking Christy Turlington. And we had this friend named Karen Bernstein, who was like a big model. And then we went to her birthday party. And sure enough, man, I wish I had pictures. I know there's pictures of it. We went to this party at Cafe Tabac, and me and Scott were just looking at each other like, yo, this is like right before O.J., you know, killed Homegirl. And
okay.
O.J.'s there with Donald Trump and some others at this girl's birthday party. And we're like dancing, hanging out with Donald Trump and O.J. And he's like talking shit to Scott. He's all like coked up, I think, or something. And me and Scott was very surreal. We're just like, dude, we're like hanging out with O.J. and fucking like it was more O.J., but Trump was there when he was with like two other chicks. And he was just like a vulture. He was just like fucking sitting there and like trying to like handsy with all these fucking girls. But you know, nobody knew anything at the time. Nobody questioned anything at the time. But you know, we knew the person. You know, I've had conversations with him, you know, plenty of times with Trump. You know, so you know, I've lost a lot of friends due to, as I'm sure you have, you know, trying to make this, like trying to point out like this guy is a fraud. It's like, and the way I try to put it now is, hey, if your buddy like did A, B, C, and D, are you still friends with him? Like, and then their answer is like, well, he's still a friend. I just don't believe him as much. Just like, okay, I'll take that. Okay, fine. Like we all have friends that, oh, it's like this guy. Okay, whatever. Like Leah, I'll say hello to him, but he's full of shit. He's just like a dirt bag, but I gotta say hello to him. You know what I mean? That's fine, but you don't put your whole trust in him. You know what I mean? And you know, it's just crazy how like I see on the news now, like I think I did a great job. 60,000 people dead. It's like this guy takes no responsibility for anything. Like the COVID thing, motherfucker, I send video clips all the time to my Trump supporting friends. I'm like, yo, he was saying this in February when there was already cases. Oh, it's a hoax. 15 people. It's a hoax. A hoax. A hoax. It's like if he would have did what he had to do, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We just wouldn't. It's statistically, you know, correct that if he would have jumped on it back then, it would have been, you know, stopped. Like Korea, they stopped it in the beginning and they didn't have a fucking craziness. It's back to normal now for the most part. We took our time and it still isn't over. Opening up the stores and businesses. Listen, I'm dying too right now. You know what I mean? And giving all this money, I didn't get none of that money. Although, you know what? It went to all the rich people first and the small. That's how it was.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The bank actually told me, hey, if you're asking for $100,000 or less, good luck. The people that are asking for $500,000 or more, they're getting it because they're doing that much business with the bank. So they're the fucking priority. The guys that have like, you know, want $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, they don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Oh, I just posted a thing about how that fucking publicly traded luxury hotel worth $2 billion
Got money.
fucking took that $126 million fucking small bit. That ain't a fucking small. They're a publicly traded company. They've got all kinds of way to fucking borrow money and get loans because of their
Yes.
assets, because they're publicly traded. And I was like, motherfucker, that's who's fucking us up. That's taking shit away from the real small businesses
Yes.
right there. And of course, you know, a bunch of people jump in and they're just like,
But
oh, dude, what the fuck? Obama did this. I'm like, Obama, that was 11 years ago, motherfucker. What's that got to do with anything?
dude, and you
And
know
who
what?
cares? We're talking about, you know, that's not even a Republican Democrat
and
thing.
that's their fucking always their go-to. Clinton and Obama. I was like, listen, I voted for Obama twice. Okay, the first term, I'm happy as fuck. His second term, I wasn't happy, and I say that, yeah, I didn't like he did this. I didn't like he did this, and I wasn't happy. I didn't like my choice, but that's what I had to do. But I admit it. But he didn't do a quarter of the shit this guy's doing. And when do you realize like what he's doing? If anybody did that to you, like I just did that to somebody just now recently. I think I don't know if I posted on my Facebook or not, but I did this thing where I agreed to buy this thing from a dude on PayPal. Like I was gonna buy this bike part from him, and then he's like, dude, like, you know, where's my money? I sent you the fucking thing. I was like, oh, I said, well, I didn't say I was gonna pay you for it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I didn't say I was gonna pay you. He's like, yeah, you did. And he shows the email, and I go, no, I said, I didn't mean pay you for it. I meant that, you know, I would give you something, but I wasn't going to pay you for it. And he was going back and forth. I go, you see, that's what Trump does. What I just did to you is what Trump does. And you accept it, so accept it for me. I'm not paying you. Eventually, I paid him, but he was going off and off, like, I'm going to file a complaint. It's like, but it's the same thing as Trump is doing. I'm showing you a fucking point, like what I'm doing. But if I do it, it's bad. He does it with the country. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's like, no, dude. It's like not okay. He got rid of, he's a big fucking narcissistic douchebag baby that can't take responsibility for anything. He goes back and forth and lies. If people just took 5 minutes and go, wow, he does lie across the board. He demonizes the media other than Fox. Even Fox News, whenever they say something bad, oh, Fox News going down the hill. Oh, they suck because they don't appease him. So it's like, when do you realize, like, wow, you know, Dom is, I mean, maybe he's wrong. Maybe Trump is wrong. It is funny how every time that somebody says something bad about him, he talks shit. Like all of a sudden, every news media outlet in the whole world is fake except for Fox News. Does that make sense? Like that.
And even they're turning on him. Even they're turning on him occasionally.
Right. And they're turning on him. And like, he's mad at them because Fox just did a poll. Florida, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, I believe, if they're showing poll numbers, who would you vote for, Biden or Trump? Biden, you know, 10, 12% more in each state than Trump. Oh, Fox News is it's a fake fucking poll. It's like, no, dude, when do you take responsibility? You know, you got rid of the pandemic response team that Obama put in place after the fucking swine flu. You got rid of it because Obama had his name on it and he put it, so you got rid of it. If that was still around, they would have caught this way before anything. You know what I mean? And I remember one of these friends of mine, Trump supporters, well, Obama, 20,000 people died of the swine flu. Let's see. And this is when the COVID thing was just happening. And it was only like 500 people dead or 300 people dead. Yeah, talk to you when it's 20,000 people. So I hit him up now. I go, hey, it's 60,000 people. What's up? You feel better now? And he doesn't answer. He's quiet. Now they talk about, oh, Clinton this and Clinton that. It's like, dude, let's talk about what's in, you know, and fuck the Republicans for not impeaching him when they were supposed to. You know what I mean? There was, you know, and not, it just sucks, man. And it sucks for me because this is going to be, I don't know how, and me and you are the most. I feel bad for my friends in bands because you're not going to be able to tour for this year. I don't see it happening this year.
Fuck no. I mean, I hope we can. We have dates rescheduled and on sale. I mean, will all 20 countries overseas open up by September, or really August is when we'd have to make a decision about it, because we'd have to start putting deposits down and fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars in tour startup costs. Yeah, I don't I would look, it's all I've done for I've been on tour since I was 19 years old. This is all I fucking know. Like, but I'm gonna be a realist about it here. There's no fucking way. And even if it does open, all the social distancing thing, they're gonna cut venue capacities down by half. Like, there's no way that a venue that's 5,000 people
now gonna have 5,000 people in there.
Is gonna have 5,000 people when it reopens. Fuck, there's no fucking chance. So then what happens? Are we taking, is now our guarantee getting cut in half, or are you going to honor it? Like, all these questions that, like, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because I am curious, like, how, you're a brick and mortar store. You're like, you got a shop.
I'm not, everybody's like, oh, well, when it's done, it's like, I'm more scared when it's over, because now we know how it is. Okay. Mass social distancing, online only, whatever. It is what it is. There's no more hidden traps. You can see everything. Okay. Open for business. There's fucking 6-7 million people out of fucking work right now.
30 million people as of today just filed for unemployment. 30 million.
30 million. Okay. Let's say maybe it's going to go up to another 10 million, maybe 40 million in the next month. I don't know. But what I'm scared about, what happens when we open. It's not going to be like, oh, spend, because nobody has money. Nobody's going to be afraid to come into stores. Some people. It's not going to be the same for a long time.
Yeah.
That I don't know how to navigate that. That's
what's going to happen to Melrose, with everything shut down.
It's fucking a ghost town. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy how much of a ghost town it is. It's a fucking ghost town. And that's what I'm scared about. And, granted, there's going to be kids that I think the younger generation are going to be more like itchy to go out and spend money and so on, but they don't have money unless, I mean, they don't have their jobs. And unless a lot of people don't want, look, my friend has
I have heard that even in times like this, though, in pandemics of the past, and when there is great recessions and stuff like that, that people do have like those kind of, I forget what the word is. It's called like a slub buy or something. It's like a splurge, but like they want to have. Yeah,
it happened in the first 2 weeks to make them feel good. It's psychological thing. I'm just going to buy something, make me feel happy.
Yeah.
But
I need a Brooklyn Projects something to like make me,
right. But what's going to happen? We saw it the first month. It was nothing. People didn't lose their jobs. The first 3-4 weeks. Okay, it's like that shock. I want to buy something to make me feel happy, to have something to do. Okay,
right.
When your credit card bill comes down, your rent is due for May, and your credit card bills start coming. You don't have no money coming in right now, or you do. It's very little. Unemployment. What are you going to do? And I want to see what's going to be like in May. That's going to be like where you're going to see like, okay, am I going to do the same? What's going to happen? The other thing is, my friend tried to hire some of his fucking workers back just now. And all of them said, why should I come back to work? I'm making an extra $1,300 to $1,500 extra a month staying home, because $600 a week extra from unemployment and your unemployment. So basically you're making $1,000 more. Like, I could sit at home. And what these idiots are not realizing is, that's going to end in 6 months. Okay. Yeah. What are you going to do then? Because other people that don't have that are going to want jobs. So then you're going to try to get a job, and it's going to be more. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be such a huge human catastrophe in January, February, when it really starts to, the after effect.
Yes.
I'm ready for that. And guess what? Joe Biden, because he's probably going to win. Oh, the Democrats, look what they did. And if anybody says that to me in my face, I'm going to punch him right in the fucking face. Say, you know what? This is all because of Trump for 4 years. It's the after effect. Okay? Just like the after effect of Obama for the first couple of years, Trump ate on it. This is the after effect. It doesn't you don't open up a store and be like, oh, I made millions of dollars. No, the store was there, and the person has left it for you to take over to get
it.
ran into the ground, and people are, no, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm worried about. And I'm really scared.
And you got to think about too, you know, like, and I think about this as well, that in January, it's going to be, you know, even December really, but I say for California, January is like flu season, you know, so like it's going to come back.
I know. Yeah.
You know, it's going to come back. January through March is always, you know, for streetwear business is always it's fucking crickets, you know, like everybody's hungover from
March
Christmas.
Is when we start doing business again.
Exactly.
And then if this happens again, how can you live? You can't. Yeah. And I'm paying all my employees. I'm losing money. I mean, I'm doing a little money online, but I didn't let anybody go. I'm like, you know what? Because they don't have anything. I'd rather take the gamble and be like, you know what? I have enough to sustain myself for at least 2-3 months, like store-wise, of paying the bills. If no money came in, 2 to 3 months, I could sustain pretty much everything, maybe 4 tops. And then I'm broke. Nothing. But I'm hoping that this is going to pick up by, I'm saying mid-July, August to some sort of normalcy. But then even still, I got to talk to my landlord about a rent reduction. I got to tell the kids, listen, you can't work your full 40, 50 hours a week, because unless there's business all up the ass, which I don't think there's going to be. I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but I don't see it being back to normal for both of us for at least 1.5 years, 2 years.
Absolutely. I've been saying that for super long time. I'm not
being a dick either. I'm being like, let's set the bar high, Rob. And that way, if it's like lower, we got this.
Yeah. Oh, I would love for it to go back to normal. You know, I would love for these tour dates that I got on sale to happen, but I don't, everything I've read, everything that I've been understanding about this type of stuff, like it's going to come in waves. It's going to get better. We're going to lighten up our restrictions, and then it's going to come back, and then it's going to be harder. Even then, we're going to have to go back hunkering down, and then it's going to lighten up. And then it's going to come a third time. But by then we'll finally, like, we won't be having all these fucking morons protesting, and like everybody will be like, no, this is fucking real. Like, and then we'll get it under control. By then we'll have a vaccine available to the general public, not just NBA players and fucking celebrities and whatever. And then everything I've heard after that is that people are so freaked out from loss of income, from the emotional toll of all this, from just being hunkered down. Yeah, it takes a couple of years to just kind of get past that. So, you know, I personally think it's going to be about 4 years, and it's not going to go back to normal. It's going to go back to
it's not going to go back to normal.
It's going to be something else. It's going to be something that I think is better. I think it's something. I think when we do get through this, and we're all out on the other side of it, the world is going to be a better place, and humanity is going to be a better place, and people are going to care for each other more. And, you know, even some of the things that, you know, people on the other side of the aisle that didn't agree with are going to be like, yeah, we kind of need these. We need these safety nets. We need these structures. We need these.
But you know what, dude? I have to disagree with you on that part. I think the people from the other side of the aisle, you're talking a very, very small amount, because, you know, when you go into like middle America, for say, they don't, you know, they don't know anything outside of Fox News. You know what I mean? And then when you have certain people on Fox News, the Sean Hannitys, the Laura Ingrams, and all that, talking the same bullshit, straight up lies, that's what they believe. Like I talked to one of my an acquaintance of mine, a smart lady, very smart, works at one of the bigger footwear companies, hardcore Trump supporter, cool, but we never talk politics, but she's really cool. I love her. She's the best. And then we were talking about, like, guys, I was telling my mom in New York, and it's really bad in New York, and this, that, and other thing. She's like, oh, I didn't know it was that bad in New York. I was like, what do you mean? There's freezer trucks outside of hospitals.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
She goes,
mass graves.
She goes, I didn't see that on the news. And I was like, well, because you're watching Fox News. I said, if you watch any other news program, you would see it. She goes, and then 3 days later, she's like, oh my God, I watched CNN and I was totally floored. I was like, because they're going to show it. They know they have sheep. So if they show you that, oh, it's sunny outside and there's nothing around, they're going to believe that. If that's where it's become. You've had a president saying fake news for fucking 4 years, and Fox
100 times a day. Yeah.
Right. They're gonna believe that. And it's funny, like on Facebook, that's like the war zone right there.
Right.
Some of my Trump supporters, hey, Joe Biden fucking molested a girl. And I hit back, I'm like, really? Trump fucking grabbed them by the pussy, did this, paid a porn star, did this, all these lawsuits. Come on, really? Like, you're gonna say Joe Biden didn't do shit, and this girl comes out now out of all of a sudden because he's running. It's like, so that's fake news. You know what I mean? And I just hope the Democrats play this right, because if they make another stupid mistake of getting the wrong running mate and, they need to come out like fucking swinging. Like now,
I think Trump's winning personally. I just think Joe Biden's the worst candidate. I think he's horrible. I mean, he's clearly, like, I'm not saying this to be mean. He's clearly got cognitive issues, like stuttering, like not remembering fucking, like can't even get a thought out a lot of times. And I know I guess he stutters. And so I'm not going to bring the stuttering into it. He's fucking old. That Dude. Shit happens. It happens with my mom. It happened with my dad. Nobody wants to address that. Like, no, because it sounds fucking horrible to say, but like, that's a fucking reality, man.
It's the reality, but I hope that, look, man, you would be a better president. And I would take anybody right now. You know what I mean?
No one's going to ever elect me.
No, but what I'm saying is,
ex-drug dealers don't make it into the fucking...
Hey, man, hey, listen, if a fucking ex-reality...
They don't make it into the White House.
Hey, Trump did. Come on.
I'm a fucking mess. There's no fucking way. I would never. Like, that's just fucking crazy.
I think that Biden will win, because unless the Democrats are totally asleep at the wheel, when you're the president of the worst economic collapse, worse than the Great Depression, and the most Americans dead under a pandemic that you called hoax, more people die now than they did in the Vietnam War, then you know what? There's no way in hell you can get elected unless nobody shows up, unless the Democrats like, oh yeah, they don't play the reason. I think the reason that Democrats lost the first time to Trump, granted Hillary wasn't a strong candidate, but I think it's because they played the liberal nice. We're going to take the high road. We're not going to stoop to his level. But That's what people want. People want, if Hillary Clinton back in the day said, you know what, you're a fucking womanizing fucking piece of shit. Let's see your taxes. He maybe wouldn't have won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were like, oh no, we're going to take the high road. We're going to take the high road. Well, now
she's the least likable fucking person.
Of course.
She's got all of her other bad shit too. For me though, the thing though that I want to say, mention something about what you said about Middle America too, though, because I do feel that we tour a lot in Middle America. I'm constantly talking to people, and I tell you what, after we dropped Catharsis and fucking Bastards was out, and fucking man, motherfuckers were like as pissed as I've ever felt. Our fan, if the Trump supporting fans in our thing, like we'd play Bastards and like dudes would straight be flipping me off for like 5 minutes. And but like in a lot of ways, I get their anger, I get their rage over the situation. I think they are directing it at the, it's like everybody, and Trump's made plenty of scapegoats, like he's made, China a scapegoat, immigrants are a scapegoat, fucking Obama's a scapegoat. Like, it's the fucking structure. It's the fucking billionaire class of this fucking country that keeps this massive income inequality in place. Like pick yourself up by your bootstraps. 65% of all wealth is inherited. So where's this picking yourself up by your bootstraps? Even that motherfucker's dad was a filthy rich motherfucker.
I know.
He was a millionaire by the time he was 8 years old.
Yeah.
Had a $200,000 a year allowance.
Yeah.
I think that the structure of it, and when I talk to people in, and I'll talk, like my manager's a Trump supporter. I've had like lots of fucking debates and
Joey, I love
arguments.
Joey.
Yeah, fucking love Joey. Joey's been my manager for 30 years. He's a MAGA hat wearing, owning, but like we've just stopped talking about it because we just go back and forth too much. Like it's just too much.
Yeah.
But in so many ways, if you talk to Joey and like take Trump out of the equation, don't say the word Trump, don't say MAGA, don't say anything, you go, hey, would you be into keeping your own private insurance or having something that was controlled by the government that allowed everybody to have this? He'd be like, yeah, I'd rather have the insurance. I don't think my insurance is good. Like I'd rather have this do it, or the healthcare or any of those things. How do you feel about like, just having like some basic background checks for somebody to buy a fucking gun, so that they can't just buy an AR-15 fucking if they got mental fucking problems, and he'll be like, yeah, and I talk to people about this all the time in the Midwest too. Like I'll say that and they'll tell me like, they'll come right up to me wearing the fucking MAGA hat. And I'm like, cool, bro. Like I'm not, like I believe what I believe and you can believe what you believe. And, I play music and like, I'm not a fucking politician. Like, I don't even classify myself as a Democrat. Like I got all kinds of views on shit, but that ideological war has been won. All those people do want those things. Those diehard MAGA, the diehard Republicans, they do want those things. They just, they kind of blindly follow Trump and, hate Bernie Sanders because he's been, this, whatever. But those ideas have become seeded into the fucking landscape of America, and people genuinely think, hey, like this income like my post about the fucking, the publicly traded luxury hotel that got a small business known for 120 motherfucker, like that shit's wrong. Like, and anybody, I don't care what you fucking believe, conservative, liberal, whatever, that shit's fucked up. And anybody can see that, nobody should have been, that just fucked, 150 small businesses for real by that jackass doing that. So it becomes that. And, so I don't know if I need to go into that anymore. That's just my, if anything, I was only hoping to just kind of say to you that, there is hope out there. There is hope. I do think that that when it is all said and done, it's going to be better. I honestly, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, a lot worse. But, when we do all come out of this, and I can hang out with you and I don't got to be 6 feet away and we can drink some fucking beers and talk some shit and laugh and fucking talk about skating and
that's what I want, dude. Yeah, dude. And that's what I want, dude. I mean, I want that, but it goes, okay, right now we're in a storm. We're in the movie, The Perfect Storm. Okay. And there's a big hurricane right now. Right. And the problem is
we're not even in the hurricane.
No, we're seeing it. It's ahead. Right. But the problem is this guy is not the right captain. I want the captain that's going to be able to steer it through. He don't have a plan. He's always blaming other people. All he cares about himself and how he looks. He don't have a plan. He doesn't think ahead. He always thinks about himself and his tweets. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you know what, and I said this to a bunch of my friends, my Trump supporters. I said, listen, man, when he first became president, I said, you know what? For the first 6 months, I was mad because I knew the person. I said, I'm gonna give him I'm gonna shut up and Did you used
to see him do blow back in the day?
No, I never seen him do blow. No, I never seen him do drugs. No. I drinking and all that. Yeah.
I think he's on HGH. I think he's on like that. Like rich people all take like that human growth hormone shit. Those rich motherfuckers take that shit.
I hope it is, because any disease you have in you,
it's like a steroid.
Yeah. No, I know.
They cycle.
Yeah, I know. No, I know, dude. But it'd be nice to have if I ask these people, I ask my friends this, I go, since he's become president, has your life changed that dramatically? You know what I mean? Like, after Bush was voted out, he finished his he finished
back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day when Obama became president. You know what? In 4 years, I did see changes within business, myself. Like things. I saw. Good things, positive things. You know what I mean? What positive things is that? Oh, America's just that. Like what positive? Like, is there more money in your check? Yeah, he gave some tax breaks to the rich and to the little ones, but you're paying for it now. When he was fucking arguing, telling China tariffs, I told everybody you're going to pay for it. No, and now the same people. No, now
everything's from China.
Hey, everything's from China. I said, look, here's proof. I remember putting this on Facebook. I said, look, jerk-offs, here's an invoice from a factory in China that made my cut and sew. Same thing, I just did a remake. It's fucking $3 to $4 more. Well, don't make it in China then. I was like, okay, cool, I'll make it in America and it'll be fucking 10 times more.
Right, like, yeah.
Right. So now you're gonna be paying $80 for something that's $30. It's like, don't you realize? And now they're feeling it because you know what I thought? I said to myself, it's no use. They're not going to listen to me. They're going to listen to when they go and, their health insurance taken away because the coverage thing. When they go to Walmart and the clothing they were buying is triple the price now because it's the tariffs. They're paying for it. They don't realize because they're fucking, they don't want to, I feel like talking to my friend who's a very, 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 very high-end psychologist and has like a bunch of celebrity fucking people as her client. A lot of these Trump supporters, deep down inside, they don't want to find out that the person they voted for is a fraud. They don't want to feel duped, so they'll keep on making excuses. It's like the girl or the guy, your husband or wife's cheating on you, but you don't want to feel like this beautiful person is this cheating scumbag. And even though the proof is there, it can't be. There's always like that one, but maybe that 1%.
Well, that's a good point, though. It is like, yeah, like you've known this dude. I've known this dude. Like the dude is cheating on his girl, right?
Yeah.
Then he gets convinced that she's cheating on him and starts treating her like shit because he suspects her for cheating and fucking drives her fucking crazy. And it's like, motherfucker, you're the one who's doing the cheating.
Right. Right.
I've known that dude like 10 times over,
Yeah. And they don't want to feel wrong. It's just like, listen, I've had that happen to me. With an employee years ago that was stealing from me, but I liked him. He's not stealing. But
probably made you feel bad every time you accused him of stealing.
Well, I never even accused him. The other employees were like, dude, he's stealing. He's doing this. He's doing that. I'm like, you guys need to shut the fuck up. It's not happening. Fuck you. I don't want, but looking back now at all the little things, now with a clear head, wow. It was like, hands down, 110%, and it got to a point where.
But you couldn't see it then. You're saying you couldn't see it then.
Well, I caught it red-handedly, and then I was still like, I don't believe it. And he made an excuse where I believed it, but then all my employees were like, look, if you hire him, we're going to quit. You just caught him stealing. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're out. Sorry, you're out. But for months, he was doing this, and I didn't believe it because he was such a good dude, and I wanted him around. But he was doing all this shit, and I did not want to believe it because deep down inside, I knew, but I'm like, I'll turn a blind eye. It's only $10. Oh,
I've had to deal with that before.
Yeah,
I've had to deal with that before. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So because we don't want to feel like, damn, we got to eat crow. We got to like, damn, I told you so. It's one of those things.
You feel stupid. Like it's embarrassing.
Dude,
right?
It just happened with a girl that my friend Monica, who worked for me, the manager. My friend Monica that you met, the girl that used to run the store.
Oh, the girl with the, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she
Super
moved,
cool.
Super cool. She left the business and she went to New Orleans, right? I told her left and right, don't leave. You're leaving. Don't. I gave all the reasons why. New Orleans, this, that. No, fuck you. Curse. We got the massive fights. I'm like, dude, look, let me pay for your apartment out here for 2 months. Don't give up your apartment. If you don't like it, you come back. You don't know what's like in there. You can't say you want to live somewhere without being there ever. Eventually, after 6 weeks, she's been there now. She's been there for 2.5 months now. Almost, no, she's been there for 3 months. 6 weeks in, she calls me up crying. After still fucking fighting with me from there. You know what? I knew this when I got in the car and drove there, that I knew that you were right. I just didn't want to believe it. It's like, and now it's finally like, it just like, you can't make any more excuses. You can't. It's like the house is burning down. I don't know if it's a fire. No, you're burning too. You have to say it's a fire. I got to get out. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel a lot of Trump supporters are. It's like they'll make excuse after excuse because they don't want to feel like, man, I made the wrong mistake. This guy that I believed in, I can't believe I don't want to feel stupid, especially the ones that like, oh, fuck you, MAGA. Okay, well now, MAGA, all these restaurants that had illegal immigrants working, cleaning, picking your food, serving your food, they all went back to Mexico. They're not coming back because they're not getting unemployment, and they're like, fuck it, they'll go to Mexico and have a better life. Who's going to deliver your food now? Who's going to pick? There's a shortage of vegetables. They're the meat plants. All the fucking people working there are immigrants. They're fucking, and they don't want to go back to work. And it's like, there's going to be a shortage of meat. These are the people that Trump didn't want here. So what's going to happen? Now you're going to feel it. And it's like, it's easy for a guy like Trump to go, oh, it's the immigrants' fault. They don't want to go back to work, blah, blah, blah. But a right-minded person would be like, no, you made them a scapegoat. You were forced, you talked all this shit about them. You didn't want them in the country, so they left. And there's nobody to take their place. It's your fault. That's
And there's another part of that. I actually just read this article about. It's by The Atlantic. It was a great article, and it was really breaking down the immigrant thing. And I honestly, I hadn't really, I've got my feelings on it. I've lived in California, like. Right. I used to do construction, man. Like fucking everybody was an immigrant. That my uncle's construction team wouldn't have fucking built a single house if it wasn't for these motherfuckers. Like that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But a lot, like this ban that's going into place, and even the ban that's been going on, it's really deceptive. It's really clever the way that they did it, because what they're doing isn't making it impossible for people to come in and do this cheap labor on some like temporary visa. In fact, they're making it easier to get in, but their road to becoming a US citizen and going from immigrant is what they're making harder, because they know that the last thing they want is for all these Mexicans to come across the border and then get a political base. To then have the power to vote. So they're like, yeah, come in and work. Sure, we want the cheap labor because fuck up. Most of the country, whether we like it or not, runs on fucking cheap Mexican labor. But so come in, but no, you can't. No, we don't want you to become a citizen. Oh, and if we find out you're going to pull, unemployment. Oh no, that's getting money. No, but we want you to pay taxes. These fucking, a lot of people don't understand that all of these immigrants, even if they don't have a legal status, they are still paying a shit ton of fucking tax.
I know.
In fact, they're paying more taxes than fucking half of these billionaire motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Most of these billionaire motherfuckers aren't paying 35% tax. I'm paying 35. You're paying 35. These fucking immigrants are paying 35%.
These guys are paying 12 and 16 and 18% because of their fucking shelters and their breaks and their fucking.
Yeah. If that, not to mention their companies, like you see all these guys like, oh, I'm not going to take my salary for the rest of the year. Motherfucker, your stock fucking dividends are what's fucking paying you.
Yeah.
Like, it got jack shit to do with your fucking salary. Amazon paid zero in federal taxes. They made $13 billion last year. Didn't pay fucking zero, paid zero in taxes. Fucking tax those motherfuckers. Tax the NFL. Tax the fucking churches. Everybody's got to pay.
Please. Please tax the churches, please.
Tax these motherfuckers. Guess what? We're not going to have to worry about going back to work. You know, we're not going to have to worry about during this time when we need to hunker down. We'll be able to pay everybody fucking the money that they need because all of those things that are getting a fucking gigantic, you know, especially these mega churches, which are making fucking dollars. Like, fuck these motherfuckers and fuck the NFL. They're making hella money too. Fucking charge them taxes.
Yeah.
No, my company's got to pay taxes. Brooklyn Projects has got to pay taxes.
Yep.
Anyway, that is, I tell you what, man, we have gone all over the place. You're a legend. You are a fucking,
Rob, you're a legend, dude.
Legend.
Dude, you know, knowing you so long and being on this is like one of the highlights of my life just because I like your podcast. I love your podcast. And I just love, you know, just talking. I mean, we cover everything. I'm like, fuck, dude. It's like,
I can talk to you. We've talked for 3 hours. I can talk to you for like another hour.
Has it been? Oh my God.
It's been 3 hours. Yeah.
Oh, dude, my bad.
It's been 3 hours. It's great. This is fucking awesome. And I tell you what, I'm so glad that you came on here because
I am.
Like, you don't give a fuck, and it's fucking rad to hear someone just tell it how it is in this fucking world of kind of phony bullshit, man. And to hear you fucking spit it, and it's been awesome. You know, your Brooklyn Projects, for all you don't know, fucking crushing the game in streetwear. You did the fucking Slayer collab. You did the Slipknot collab. Yeah, before anybody. You know, did the Slayer collab, did the Slipknot collab. I mean, all the respect in the world to you for making something which is a fucking really, really hard game fucking work for you and kill it and have respect. You know, you got Justin Bieber wearing your shit. Like, you're a fucking hot, you know, you're a hot brand, and it must feel good, and it makes me super proud. Once again, you know, the same pride I felt when I saw you on Headbangers Ball, it's the same pride I feel for you now, like doing shit like that.
Dude,
and making those moves.
And I feel the same with you, man. My one of my proudest moments, to be honest with you, and it made me feel like, wow, like it was a wow moment, was taking you to your first trade show.
Oh, the agenda.
Yes. And that was like, I was like, I'm with Robb, and I remember I felt so proud. I was telling everybody, "Yo, this is Robb from Machine Head." Granted, half the people didn't know what Machine Head was because it's not their world. But I was like, I was with Robb. This was like a fucking, because, you know, we're boys, but I still look at you as, I'm still a fan. We're family, but I still look at you as a fan. I'm a fan. You know, you're not Robb. You're Robb from Machine Head. You're Robb from Violence. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, you know, and it's like, but, you know, we're so tight now, and like, it's just like, you know, I don't talk. There's very few people I've known, very few people that I've known for 30 something years I still talk to, and we can pick it up like, hey, so, you know what I mean? Because we text and we talk, and it's not like we're just like some random stranger. There's people I know for 50 years, literally some 5 years old, that live in LA that I don't even talk to. I talk to maybe once every 2-3 years, and I grew up with them. But you, it's like, I talk to you. I mean, I talk to you once a month on text. Hey, what's going on? Or you'll comment on one of my pictures or one of my rants. Like, yeah, get them down. And, you know, it's like fuck yeah, dude. You know, like today, when I looked at you, commented on my fucking Possessed fucking.
That was sick. You and Jeff Becerra. Shout out to Jeff Becerra. That's a rad picture.
Dude, Jeff, seriously, Possessed. But you know what? When this is all, I gotta
get Jeff Becerra on the podcast. He'd be good.
Dude, he has. I still want to know how he lost his walking. I don't know the story. He needs to tell it.
I got to get him on the podcast. He'd be good.
Well, he's home now doing nothing. He's probably cooking eggs and fucking the bait in the kitchen. I don't know. He's fucking, get him on, dude. Jeff, get fucking on. Get the virtual Possessed. Get Larry Lalonde. Get Mike Terreo.
Mike Sus, the drummer.
Mike Sus. Let those toms.
Right. Oh yeah. Dude, well, dude,
I appreciate you, man.
Awesome day. Yeah. You have an awesome day. Thanks for being on No Fucking Regrets. I really love it, man.
I love it, dude.
Everybody, that was the fucking legend right there. The one and only Dom DeLuca. Brooklyn Projects, Headbangers Ball.